Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dax Shepard. I'm joined by Lily Padman, and my old buddy Rudy is here today. Oh, what a long time coming.
So long. We've been trying to get her from those early days.
From the jump.
She wasn't ready, and now she is.
She wasn't, and now she is. But yeah, in fact, I've had people, rightly so, go, "Where's Maya? Aren't you guys pals?"
I know, and then they probably think you were lying about that. But they'll learn today you weren't.
Yes, they'll learn, or that she's a tremendous actor, which she is. She's an Emmy Award-winning actor and a comedian. Some of my very favorite SNL sketches in the history of Saturday Night Live. Bridesmaids, Grown Ups, Big Mouth, of course, Idiocracy, where she and I became besties. And now, season 2 of Loot out on Apple TV, which is fantastic. I'm delighted that we interviewed her because now I'm into Loot. And I think you will be too, so please enjoy that.
I really enjoyed this.
I really did too.
She's wonderful. And
she's as good as they come.
And you know that, even if you don't know her, like you're kind of like, I think she's great, but then she delivers.
In any other occupation, this wouldn't be a great compliment. But in our occupation, it is the ultimate compliment. She's so normal.
Yeah.
Right? She's such a normal-ass human being.
Yes.
I love it about her.
She tells some fun stories.
Oh, and her willingness to go to Olga's, which I maintain. Whatever you hear about Olga's, don't listen to anything. I love and still love Olga's. Please enjoy Maya Rudolph.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
Will you explain the olive oil to me, please?
Oh, yeah.
You do it in your coffee?
I do. I don't use cream, but I miss some kind of a fat in there. And so, let me tell you the whole story of this olive oil. Actually, you'll really like it.
I do love that olive oil.
Well, you already know about it.
I don't know much about it. I just know it was like the first fancy olive oil you could buy in a grocery store. And I'd be like, oh my God, this has augmented my salads.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
like
right.
this is a real
It shouldn't be for cooking. It should be for dressing up
Yes.
your foods.
Tasting, sucking.
Lubricating.
But
true.
now there's so many artisanal.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't think people normally wear.
Bespoke.
I was told to
olive
put
oil.
makeup on in case we took a photo. I don't normally wake up with makeup on, but I was so nervous that I was told that I was like, they know something I don't know. I better put some fucking lipstick on.
We do
Well,
take a couple photos, so
Great.
you're ahead of the game.
And you look beautiful.
Right?
Yeah.
Truly, always. Okay, so back to this olive oil, because I think you'll really appreciate this. So Kristen and I were at a really nice hotel in Utah.
A Holiday Inn. Mm-hmm.
They had olive oil in a little bowl, and I dipped in some bread, and I tasted it, and I was like, oh my God, that's the first time I've really been like, wow, olive oil. So I asked one of the guys working there, is it okay if you tell me the brand of that olive oil you guys use? And he's like, yes, I'll be right back. And he was gone for quite a long time.
I don't know what's about to happen.
And then he came back and he leaned down into me because it's a very nice restaurant. And he said, yes, sir, the olive oil is extra virgin. And then
I love him.
I know, I loved him so much. And of course, now I don't know what to do because I want him to think he got me the right information. And also, that's not going to get me to this olive oil brand.
That
Extra
is the best olive oil story I've ever heard.
I kind of thought you would want to know that part of it. So anyways, I did end up finding out it was this Vladimir, or however you say it.
I always say, laude mio.
Oh, Papa P, Mamma Mia.
I have no idea. I don't think I've ever said it out loud.
I don't know that I have either.
But I remember back in the day, you'd go to like the Gelson's aisles if you were starting to really get fancy.
To really
Erewhon.
enjoy your wealth.
Yeah, I guess Aaron was around, but I was doing Whole Foods then.
Yeah.
I was like, get the laude mio. Do whatever you can.
If you come back without the ladonio mio, don't even come back.
Laude mio.
If they don't have ladonio mio, turn around and walk the fuck out of there.
How are we not hearing any of that construction? This is incredible.
This has a synthetic bubble around it.
You did something great.
I did do something. So anyways, I liked this so much. I was dipping everything I could in it, and I was pouring it on everything. And then one day I was like, I wonder how it tastes in coffee. Just curious.
Recently, there was a Starbucks olive oil situation.
I know.
So that's why I was asking, because you clearly are good at like
Forecasting Food trends?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was
I
getting
know,
at.
and I'm not even going
And
to try
we're
to act
gonna
like
talk about that.
Yes, and I'm not even going to deny it because it's known. I am so good at that.
Yeah.
No, but I've been doing Monica right for 8 years
A
or
while,
so.
yeah,
10,
yeah.
I think.
In
actually.
coffee.
Well, it
in
used to be
coffee.
butter. You've heard like the butter.
That's what I was thinking is the biohacking, bulletproof.
That was a part of it.
Yes,
And then instead
aspirin.
of putting butter in there, I was like, well, I guess it's the fat that prevents you from peaking and crashing. I don't know if any of that's real, but I just started doing it. And now I just really love the taste of it.
Do you just pour it in or do you froth
Emulsify?
it? Thank you.
Oh, magic. Did you say magic bullet?
No,
She
I
said
said
emulsify.
Oh, well, Monica's a chef.
I know
Did you know
cooking
this?
terms.
Are you a chef?
Amateur.
Say no more. You've got my heart.
You can come over. I'll cook for you.
I love it. I have 4 children, and my dream is one of them is interested in becoming a chef. Just one.
Oh, right.
So that you can enjoy it, or
That's
for their.
right.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
For me to enjoy their culinary prowess.
Yes. Do you like cooking?
I do, but I haven't been cooking lately. And then if we go on vacation and rent a house, I'm like, I'm going to chat. I like playing house in that way.
Yes.
But I am doing construction and I'm building a genuinely exciting kitchen. First time in my life.
Okay, at the house I've been to.
Next door. Same vibe.
Okay, great. Too many buildings.
Too many buildings, same property, one patch of grass.
Nice.
Same exact house. Where you found the wolf spider.
I have that on my list of things. I thought that was a tarantula, but it's not.
It was a tarantula, let's be honest. Someone was just trying to be cool about
an
it.
entomologist or
Yeah,
something.
it was a fucking wolf spider.
Are tarantulas and wolf spiders the same thing?
You tell me.
No one
This thing-
knows what a wolf
Nobody
spider
cares.
is.
When you see that thing, you don't care.
No. It was bigger than a hockky puck,
I thought you were gonna
smaller
say
than a
hot dog.
frisbee.
It was bigger than a hot dog.
That would be a terrible reference point. Longer than a coat hanger. No, but it was not as big as a frisbee, and it was bigger than a hockey puck.
First of all, for you to think anything is big means it was scary.
Yeah, it was enormous, and it felt like it shouldn't be in Los Angeles.
We need more details. What happened? You
Sorry.
were outside.
We were at my house and we had recently replaced the air conditioner. So I think some big unit had come out and some big guy was living there for a while.
Daddy
A
long
big,
leg.
big boy.
Big
Big
boy.
boy. It was probably like a pound, I bet, for you to handle
God,
it.
no.
Its eggs were
sounds
visible
so
like chicken
like
eggs.
thick.
Yeah. Girthy.
And then when we were just walking out of the house, it was in the walkway and all its hairiness
Ew.
was
Yes.
hanging out.
It
Where
almost looked like a
humans-
gorilla.
Yeah.
If you really think about it.
Does everyone feel so itchy now?
Awful,
Oh.
awful. And by the way, I still live there. So it probably has a family. And I'm sure there's more, but they know how to hide.
I was happy when I drove home that night.
That
I
you
would
don't
be,
have to live
Yes.
there.
Well, let me go backwards. Your family home is among the favorite houses I've ever been to in my life. And it's not because it's spectacular and grandeur, although it does sound like we're putting a lot of buildings on it, which is exciting.
I mean, we just bought the house next door. Let's be honest.
But it is the most quirky, authentic, real. It's not flashy, but it's like an older kind of wooden ranch. Everything's wooden. The
That's
sinks are wooden, the bathtub's wooden, the showers
The
are
humans are wooden.
and it has more charm than any other house I've ever been in. Truly.
It is true.
And then such a sweet setup because there was a horse barn.
There was a horse barn, which I think became the garage. And then subsequently, the previous owners had, you will appreciate this, a car garage, like a mechanic's garage.
Yeah, right. Proper. And then Paul put a screen in there and you would show movies in there.
Still do.
Yeah, and so we had made this movie together and it was just never going to be seen.
By anyone ever.
No, and God bless, I'm presuming Paul had the leverage. He got a print of that film
did.
so that we could at least see it.
Like dignified actors who worked
I
really
thought like we were in
hard.
a porno or something.
But let's go back to the fact that didn't you and I march into 20th Century Fox? I remember saying like, we're just going to go down there and be like, why didn't it come out?
Yeah. What's going on?
Why isn't this movie coming out?
Because of course, I'm not the most optimistic person. I started to imagine, well, this must be quite bad.
Which made no sense because you and I were in a film that was written and directed by Mike Judge. How could that be bad? It was called 3001. How could that be bad?
Terry Crews put on a
Terry
show for
Crews
us.
was the president. How could that be bad?
Right.
It was you, me, and Luke Wilson in Austin, Texas.
Oh, Maya.
How could that be bad? And then it just got really quiet for a really long time.
I want to say like a year. And then we
At
also
least.
did some reshoots while I was doing a different movie. That didn't feel...
That never feels great.
You're not encouraged by that.
Never feels great.
Even worse, you might remember this plot twist. I was brought in to ADR my entire character without an accent.
Wait, stop.
Did you not know this?
I think I blocked it out.
Yeah, I was asked to come in there and just do the movie like Dax. Like, go away, Baton. I like money too. You like sex and money? We should hang out.
My heart hurt.
I know.
Because they had determined that it was my terrible character that was making the movie test so horribly.
Well, after they changed the title from 3001, which is maybe one of the most brilliant titles I've ever heard about a future gone wrong, to Idiocracy, where the first question is, how do you spell that?
Right. What was going on? They just were like, we're scared to put this out.
Wouldn't tell us.
You
Well-
still don't know. What do we think now?
As I remember this, everyone has these crazy theories. There are people that think, oh, they went after big companies too hard. I don't believe any of that.
You mean like Fuddruckers?
Yeah, like
Big.
Carl's Jr. I'm sure Carlton Cigarettes was pissed.
I bet. Starbucks was giving hand jobs out in the movie, right?
Yes, lattes were hand jobs. So that was kind of one fringier theory, but in reality, and I hate to defend them, but the movie tested terribly. And Paul's the one who made the very best observation. I'll never forget this.
I just want to say, one of my favorite things about good old friends is they remember things that you don't. Please continue.
Yes, the same. Paul saw it.
Call your husband.
Yep.
Who's an incredible director, Paul Thomas Anderson. So we are going to listen to this gentleman. And he saw the movie and he said, well, no wonder this thing tests at 40 every time. The people that go see free movies they know nothing about are the people being made fun of in the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like,
really
oh my
astute.
God, that's exactly
God
it.
damn it, that's right. This movie has had so many lives because remember, before the Trump election, we went out and screened it like, hey, guys, don't let this happen to you.
Right. Remember this
Isn't
funny?
this funny? And it got not funny so fast.
Yes, you're right. And then also it had that weird thing that happens when it's like, we knew it as 3001. That's what we read the first time. And then it got renamed Idiocracy. And I was like, I don't like this. It's too on the nose.
Yeah, and it's hard because it's not what you fell in love with.
But then, of course, the rest of the world only knows it as that. And they love it. And so now I don't mind it at all.
Same.
Would you agree? We made that movie. It came out. I didn't meet anyone for 4 years that had seen that movie.
That's right. So when it was coming out, you and I said, hey, let's go see it. So that's what we did. We went to the Cinerama Dome and I think you said, call Movie Phone because it's not on there. And it was like, oh, it's the Untitled Mike Judge film. They were hiding it from us.
They did not want anyone to see it.
No, it was you and me. And we had our own little party in there. And no one knew what I was talking about when I said that I made this movie for a very long time. So I'm trying to think what brought it out of, this is actually in line with the wolf spider a little bit. They were both in hiding for so
They
long.
were.
my God,
And then the light of
Omen.
day hit them somehow.
Somehow.
HVAC project. I don't even know. I guess it probably made its way to TV, but slowly it just started.
I
and
think
by
Mike
far,
Judge became more of a cachet, and people started deep diving into everything he made.
it is his weird pattern though, because also Office Space had a very similar kind of, it came out, not a lot of people saw it, then it became huge. So I would say to this day, that is the movie that people have stopped me about more than any other thing.
And do they say, go away, Baton?
They say all kinds of fun stuff.
I
Yeah.
said, I like money the other day.
Sure,
I like
sure.
money. Oh. But here's the other thing that's crazy about the movie is the whole time we were like, this is insane. This is crazy.
Yeah.
A professional wrestler for president. And then it came true so much faster than anticipated. We were shocked.
And I bet people started watching it a little bit in the way that Monica watches the same movie of a topic she's nervous about. So like during the pandemic, she watched Contagion like 30 times in a row. And then we happened to read an article
I
that people
hated
with
it.
anxiety rewatch stuff because they know how it ends.
Right. Ooh.
So I think maybe people started anxiety watching it because they would know how that would end.
Oh, that's so rough.
Well, it's extra rough because you guys need to screen it again.
Well,
My God.
We're going to keep screening it
what for the rest of our lives?
for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
We're
we need
just
to
kind of
screen it
stuck in
again.
some weird museum.
Well,
Someone greeting people.
I remember too, my favorite thing about that re-screening of it was that the Aero Theater did put up a beautiful marquee. It said ass.
One for best picture, best screenplay, and best performance.
Just ass.
So Monica and I were just in Austin for
really?
South by, and we stayed at the Four Seasons.
Oh my God.
And I was telling Monica, I'm like, I don't know that they'll ever
Makes me happy.
be a more special place for me because that was only the second movie I ever did. I never stayed at a Four Seasons. This was so foreign to me. And you and I were like 2 floors apart, and we had a view of the river. It's really seared into me. Every time I go there and I stand on the balcony and I look there, I get the warmest warm fuzzies. And you know, it's almost right to this moment 20 years ago.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
How
because we shot in
perfect.
2004, spring into the beginning of summer.
We had no children between us.
Well,
0.
you found out you were pregnant by the end of the movie.
While we were shooting?
Or at the reshoots, one of the two.
Must have been the reshoots.
How old's your child?
18.
Turning 19 next week.
October.
So then it must have been the reshoots.
That's crazy.
Yeah, right?
Oh.
Yeah. But we didn't have children's.
We didn't have children, but we had each other. And I have to tell you, it may have been one of the first times in my adult life where I was like, I made a friend. You know what I mean? Like, we had a genuine
Oh, yeah.
love fest friendship that started, blossomed, grew, learned about each other.
Yes.
Ate together, which is really learning about each
yeah.
other.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I learned a lot.
Well, I was eating so much, as you recall.
Yes, but you also introduced me to your palate. And because I love you, and at the time it was such a love fest, you were like, oh, we got to go to this place. And I was like, great, let's
Everything
go.
was low rent. Didn't we go Boston Market?
That's right.
For the meatloaf. I wrote down about 5 things that you were so patient with me as a friend. It's hilarious. But I want to get to my favorite part, which is, yes, I just liked you instantly. I don't know how this happened, but very early on into hanging out, we developed this weird bit where we would just call one another's hotel room, landline to landline. And Maya would pick up and I would go, quarter pounder, fillet of fish, happy meal, side dish.
I haven't thought about this.
And then hang up.
And that's the tune. You remember? That's the exact tune.
Ham and cheese, cheese and ham. It always started with a quarter pounder for some reason. There was always
Or
a
filet of
quarter
fish
pounder
is
or
always-
fillet of fish is always included.
Yeah.
Do you know why, maybe? I think it's because filet of fish is my childhood McDonald's meal. We were told we were vegetarians when I was a child. That meant we did not eat beef.
But filet of fish was
So
totally
filet of fish was fine.
on the menu.
And they didn't have nuggets then. They didn't have McNuggets.
Happy meal, quarter pounder.
Then it blossomed into like Happy Meal, meal of choice. Like it would be the last word.
Yes, I'm forgetting all the
improv game.
iterations. But it
Maybe.
was a couple months, but nothing made me happier than I'd be sitting in bed, my phone would ring, and then I would just pick it up and I would hear that. Roast beef, filet of fish.
Fillet of fish, fish and chip. No reason. I believe you started it.
I can't imagine that, but boy, was that fun. And it just never ended.
We had that beautiful walk by the river right behind the hotel. It's lovely. And there were all these strange ducks. I really fell in love with that city. Big surprise. People fell in love with Austin, Texas. But this was a long time ago.
It was so long ago that when we were shooting, I was falling so in love with it. I started looking at tons of real estate. And all of those houses that were on the lake on a couple acres in big houses were like 700 grand.
Jesus.
You cannot buy a house on that lake now for under 6 million. So like, yes, in many ways, we were way ahead of the curve.
I'm that person who's been here this whole time, but I've never been ahead of the curve. And I mean anywhere, on any game, on anything. When you're
Really?
like, oh yeah, that's over now. People aren't doing that anymore. You're like, yeah, I just figured that out. That's me with like real estate. I've never been like, yeah, we found this very small town on this little inlet islet. And it's in the Bahamas and it was $400.
They're telling us now it's worth $8 million.
$8 million.
Can you believe it?
I've never done that.
Okay, another wonderful thing that happened to us on the movie is that we were both given drivers / assistants. And I had a boy and you had a girl.
Wait, was her name Monica? No, what was...
I don't know her name, but I think where this story's going, maybe we'll just leave her kind of anonymous.
You know what? You're right.
And by the way, there's no way she had that pedestrian of a name.
Hey,
Monica's
the
a
hell?
Listen, Monica's a normal name. This one had a name like Skylar or Star.
It was like Star from the Lost Boys.
There was something avant-garde about the name, as I recall.
And the person, yes.
Yeah, I had no boundaries. So I would come in my trailer, and my good friend, he had smoked a pack and a half of cigarettes, and there was just butts everywhere and everything. So we didn't know how to do this.
We were children.
We were children, and we invited them everywhere we went, which I think was nice of us.
We did not know better.
Why don't you just tell everyone about our trip to Barton
Barton
Springs?
Springs. Barton Springs is this beautiful public swimming area hole.
I talk about it all the time in here. It's a spring-fed, natural little riverway, but they've paved the sides of it, and then there's a dam at the end, so it's about 5 football fields of water, and then grassy banks on either side.
And everybody just chills on the grassy banks. And it's a lot of like college student vibe, maybe some hippies.
Songwriters.
Some people that don't have jobs during the day. And we had the day off. I think we'd gone to the frozen custard place and gotten some ice cream, like across the street.
Sandy's.
Wow.
We were just there, and I was telling Monica.
Did you go?
Saw it. We didn't go, but
I suggested
you pointed it out.
I'm so curious. You know when you go somewhere and you're like, is this still here?
It is mostly all still there.
Yeah, and it's that strip.
And we had that most enchanted dinner at Salt Lick with Mike. And I still go there all the time, and I still get
No
those
wonder
butterflies.
that's why you love it so much.
Oh,
that
big
makes
time.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like a night where Mike was like, I'm going to take you guys to Texas barbecue.
And with his family.
And you had been taken to Boston Market before that.
That's correct.
So,
Yeah.
Wow.
So needless to
big
say,
step
I
up.
was in need of a heightened.
The Boston Market doesn't end
Culinary
there.
experience.
Earmark that.
We went to see Mean Girls. We went to see Mean Girls right after. That's what we did.
Oh,
we
I
went to
didn't remember
dinner and a
that.
movie. Because Mean Girls had just come out. You were like, I know the place.
Don't worry, Toots. You hungry?
She'll have what I'm having.
I'll have 2 of them, and she'll have 1 of them.
So we go have the day off. And of course, we bring our assistants.
Yes, of course.
Because I think we were all like the same age-ish.
Yeah, roughly.
When you're in your 20s,
Yeah.
you're the same age.
Your gal was a little younger. I think she was the youngest of them.
just turning 30, maybe 31. Austin, Texas, in the summer is perfect.
It's perfect.
A little humid. You get some thunderstorms. This is like flowers blooming, grass.
You're
lots
in a
of young
Linklater
people.
movie
Yeah,
somehow.
exactly. And so we are hanging out as friends, the 4 of us.
Just met.
And my gal proceeds to take her top off.
Oh. Is she an Austin native?
No. She was newly in town, as I recall.
Okay.
I don't remember. By the way, let's be clear. This was after other things were kind of head scratchy, where I was like, so you did what with your dry cleaning?
Yeah, I think she was like
Oh,
she was
shit.
doing some grocery shopping
Shopping.
for herself.
That's
like she
right.
would do some for you, but also do quite a bit for herself,
Like
as I
one
recall.
for you, 2 for me. Yeah.
Yes.
No one's going to know this.
And then some dry cleaning. And now she was just fully topless.
But it wasn't just that she was topless. It was that I made eye contact with you immediately. And your eyeballs seared inside of my eyeballs. The most direct, like,
Well-
what do we do?
At that point, we're in a very precarious situation, which is in some loose terms where they're employers.
That's right.
You're her boss. By some extension, I'm higher on the ladder. So, holy fuck, how do I now talk to her?
You talk to her, just
Eyebrows.
chin up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Have you ever had that where someone just talks to the top of your head or top of your forehead? Have you ever noticed that?
It makes me very insecure.
Not insecure. It makes my butthole a little tight.
Oh,
It makes me
okay.
uncomfortable.
Sure, I'm going to do it to you. Can you feel it? So when we
No.
were down there, you can't even feel that?
No, it looks like you're looking at me.
Oh, wow, what a good trick. Maybe I'll go higher. Now I'm going to go higher.
Go like, yeah, that's it. Ooh, I don't like it.
My
That's
butthole
so
is
It
winking.
is
Weird.
winking at you. There was a girl in my 4th grade class who would get really defensive and she'd talk to you like this.
Ooh, I hate that.
Horrible. It was a little bit of like check in with the eyes, like I'm looking down, but I'm still looking up here.
Ew, weird.
Why?
I don't like what just happened.
Right? Doesn't it make you feel ooky?
Yeah, it does.
No gracias.
Okay, so top came off, and then no one addressed
No one
it.
said a word.
What are you going to
Because what are
say?
you
We're
gonna
her
say?
employers.
Well,
But she didn't take the hint.
Because you all kept your tops
We
on.
worked together. Because we all kept our tops on.
Bounced her top off too in front of mine.
Well, and it was just one big boob.
What an enormous uni boob.
But didn't you find a picture of all of us hanging out or something in our adult lives that really took us back?
I think I did. And I almost feel like it's from Barton Springs, but before her top was off.
It was pre-top.
And you know what? I'm going to add one thing. She was actually wearing a button-down shirt.
I remember that. That's creepy.
So it's not like it was just it came off and all of a sudden
it was like a slow unbutton.
it was like, I'm going to unbutton my dress shirt that had been trimmed at the bottom.
Did other people there do that?
It was kind of pre that, to be honest.
I didn't feel that from any other people there.
She started a trend.
I feel like sometimes people do that in life where you're like, oh, this was awkward or that made me feel uncomfortable. And then you look back and you realize that person might have been pushing some buttons on purpose.
Yes.
I would never stop to
interesting.
think that it maybe created something for her. Or maybe she just was like hoping Dax would look. I don't know.
Or you.
She wasn't that interested in me. By the way, I don't think she was interested in either of us.
No, yeah. I kind of applaud it.
She was
I
on her
would
own
love
journey.
to bump into her. I just want an update.
I think that Mike Judge should screen the movie again for the next election and make it a reunion so we can see everybody.
I would love
Oh my
that.
God, that'd be great.
Yeah.
In Austin.
Because it was just us. It should have been in Austin.
Although,
Hey, you never got the premiere you deserved.
We never got the premiere we deserved.
okay, a couple other things we must touch down on. We were our most selfish, well, I can't speak for you, but career-wise, my most selfish moment ever on a set was you and I just left. We were in the middle of a scene.
Wait, really?
Yes, because we wanted to go see Prince.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember?
Of course I do, in San Antonio.
Yes, Prince was playing in San Antonio, and you pulled some crazy strings, or someone did. Maybe
I was
Koplowitz.
talking to Koplowitz a lot that day. It was a day where we were not on camera as much. We were in the audience for Luke being president. And we were like, sorry, buddy, we got to go.
Then, by the way, you always shoot the guy making the speech or the woman making the speech and then cut to the audience. They get to go first. They have a bunch of dialogue.
I just smiled and gave him the finger.
And we convinced them to shoot our side of the scene first.
So we could drive in the pouring rain. How many hours away?
It's like an hour and a half to San Antonio.
But in like,
heavy rain.
Like sleet and snow.
In my Chrysler 300 rental car.
Were you guys both in relationships at this time?
She was with Paul.
Yeah.
And I was with Bree. And Bree was there for a good chunk of it.
I just can't imagine you guys didn't fall in love.
Well, that's interesting.
We didn't. Well, I felt like it was more than love. This is like when you fall in love with a human as your friend, like I would take a bullet for you. That was our
Yeah,
thing.
molecular.
Molecular, like you guys.
But you're right, Monica. And I'm going to say there's 2 or 3 things about you that I find really, really unique. And this is one of them. So if I hadn't had a girlfriend, I would have definitely tried to kiss you.
Tried to pork me.
I would have, because I liked you so much, and you're female and attractive. So why on earth would I not?
And I was really young, so we looked great.
Yes, you
You
more
still
than me,
look
because I
great.
was
Everyone still looks great.
Frito
We all
body.
looked great. You on purpose had Frito body, which is a thing that I can't even imagine doing. Like, I gotta eat all this shit because I gotta look like shit on camera.
Right.
Yeah, it's really telling that it was my second movie. Like, I would have never done that again, but I
But
was like,
also,
I'll do
like,
anything.
you were so young that you didn't gain that much weight.
It was fine. But I'm curious, how have you navigated that?
Not boning people?
Well, just you have a lot of male comedian friends. You and I met on that movie Face to Face, but I had seen you in Groundling shows. I was going through the program, and I mostly would see you and Steve Agee do things together.
Oh, yeah.
You guys were such a good comedy duo, and you were so raunchy together.
Yes.
And I was friends with Agee, and I was thinking like, well, if I was Agee, I would definitely be in love with Maya. And then I would just think probably so many of these men that you've been comedically involved with were in love with you. How did you manage all that?
First of all, thank you for this question because no one has ever asked me this, and you're making
Really?
me feel really good.
It definitely
But Maya,
happened.
you're so beautiful, and you're so talented.
So
It's
nice.
crazy.
I should have come here a long time ago. No one has ever said this to me in my entire life. I don't know what to answer. In Groundlings, I had a boyfriend.
Okay. For how long?
Most of it, and then he dumped me.
Oh.
I had passed up so much comedy dong for this guy. I feel like between Groundlings and Saturday Night Live, having a boyfriend, I missed out on so much comedy dong.
Yeah. Which isn't legendarily great dong.
No, it's not.
It's actually kind of known to be
It's
pretty
like
bad dong.
dark.
dark,
Coked up dong.
twisted,
Yeah.
twisted
Coked-
dong.
And we're not talking about aesthetics, like
No.
emotional. Well,
Emotionally twisted dongs.
Heavy use of substances,
Yeah.
sloppy.
I dodged so many bullets in that respect. But the other thing is comedians and most thespians have such a fun flirtation.
Right.
So you get to have that, especially with these dudes that feel like your brother. But yeah, I wish I'd gotten a lot more
That
pussy.
mediocre.
Yeah. It would have been fun to reflect.
On that flaccid dong.
But that's
Yeah.
why you had boyfriends. That answers that.
I had moved back to LA with my college boyfriend.
I also think you might not
Pre-dump.
know that guys like you, is my hunch, too.
That is something I know about myself.
Right. A little bit of Monica-isms.
Oh, you're like oblivious to that.
I do have that because I've noticed in life, I'll say something and I'll say, yeah, he likes you. You're like, what? I didn't know that.
Right. Same over here.
Why do you think that is? Because I find that fascinating about myself. My own personal theory is that I'm also a little bit of a boy because of my upbringing. I grew up with my brother and my dad. After my mom passed, I was 7. So the majority of my childhood home was my dad and my brother. And my brother's older and he was super funny. So I just wanted to be like my brother.
Right. Of
Growing
course.
up. And so I'm a little bit of a dude, DNA wise,
So that's, your story, I think. That's how you have explained why guys aren't hitting on you or
well, then
like
also
you.
I think that I relate to guys in that way, maybe.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Well, Monica has a story, too.
I do. But mine's reality. So it's like not
Wow,
cool
that
to call
was-
it a story.
That was great.
Well, yeah, I grew up in, God, how many times?
She's never
I feel
heard it.
like
You can cut it
self-conscious.
out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grew up in Georgia, all white. The boys didn't like me.
Same experience, by the way.
Yeah.
I had a hunch. And by the way, all of it's built on a single, I don't want to diminish it. It is built largely on one very profound experience.
Well, that was the culmination. Okay, it wasn't. There were lots of things that were telling me, being brown isn't so great
Correct,
in
yep.
this environment. And then it culminated in 6th grade. And this boy said he couldn't date me because my parents worked at Dairy Queen, which they don't. But Indians worked at the Dairy Queen or ran the Dairy Queen, I guess.
Owned.
Owned probably,
Okay.
franchised,
Oh,
whatever.
we own this Dairy Queen.
Okay, Dairy Queen.
Exactly. In retrospect, they were very successful.
But he liked her.
He said, I want to, but I can't because her parents work at Dairy Queen. And then, that got back to me. And then I was like, oh, I see. So they can't. It's not that they don't want to. It's just, okay, this thing about me has made it actually impossible
Ooh, yeah.
for love. And then that really, really detoured the rest of my life.
Wow, I think that we have a very similar experience. I grew up here in Los Angeles. I was the only mixed kid, let alone only brown girl in my class. And we're talking 80s. So at the birthday parties, girls would French braid each other's hair. And I was like, check, please. No one's getting their fingers through this. And then there were those cute little barrettes in the 80s that people would put little lanyard, pretty like strings in. Those didn't fit in my hair. Or like when I went to Mary Wigmore's boy-girl swim party, I had short hair and it was very curly. And Xander was like, go under the water. And so I'd go under the water and he'd be like, do it again. And I'd do it again. He goes, your hair looks like a sponge.
Oh,
And I'm 51 years old and it still hurts.
yes.
You know?
course.
And then he was also the kid that was like, hey, will you talk to Mary for me? It was always about my friend Mary.
100%.
Who's like beautiful, wonderful,
Stacked,
funny.
great with kids, good dancer.
All true. Great with kids. Great. When you said detour, what I heard was the choice to detour for ourselves. We made that choice. We were like, I'm going over here to protect myself.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I only mean story because that was 6th grade,
I know.
you know?
I know.
And so there was a lot of time after that. I can only assume this and backdate it because I've been around her all the time for 8 years. And I see a lot of guys like her and guys come to the show and hold up signs and people hit on her in front of me and I can see and she can't. I'm just saying that once that changes your point of view, it does become really hard
To steer it
come
back.
back from that.
Yeah.
100%.
I think the quintessential ingredient in that story, which makes it heartbreaking, is he liked you and you liked him.
Yeah.
And the friend was like, why don't you ask her out? You guys like each other.
That's really gnarly that you were told that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then, yes, the story makes a ton of sense, which is, well, even if they like me, they're not going to. So I'm just turning off the whole thing because it's just going to be painful and hurtful and I'm going to protect myself. Anyways, I just think, I
Very
know
similar.
you miss it a lot.
It is
And I had a
similar.
hunch maybe you missed it a
You
lot.
are very astute. And I also didn't realize, because now that I've had 4 children and my body has become something I don't recognize, I look back at my young self in those grounding stages and I was like, wow, I was so cute.
Oh my God, you were so hot.
My boobs were so cute.
So perky.
So perky. I had the best boobs. I had the best little bod, and I
You would've-
didn't know it.
You would have blown her right off this hill at Barton Springs if you would have unleashed those suckers.
If those suckers came out to play at Barton
They would have
Springs,
shut down the whole park. Everyone out of the water! Out
Oh
of the
my
water.
God.
what's it called? This is also what happens. I'm not going to remember words. What's it called when the sun is blocked and you have to look through?
Eclipse.
Thanks.
Yes, yes,
We're coming
yes,
up
what a
on one,
clip.
by the way.
Really?
It's right
Oh,
around
yeah.
the corner.
Yeah, it's about to happen.
Somehow you were getting even by doing that now. Warp
We
life.
were just going to smear her name through the whole thing. The other thing is, I don't know if I know how to recognize people hitting on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't think I'm that aware. I don't know what it looks like. When you said you saw it happening for Monica, did she not see it?
No, we fight about it. I'll go, oh, that guy was hitting on you. And she'll go, no, he wasn't. He was saying blank. And then it's a fight.
I
And
don't
she's
know what
never
it
gone,
looks
oh,
like.
really?
Yeah. I also think you're wrong a lot. Or you think something. Okay.
I know the ways of love.
I don't know
Monica.
how much I can keep in of the story I'm about to say. We had someone on this show who was flirting with me. I was like, yeah, he's flirting, but I know he's not so interested. Like, I know. And we left, and Dax was like, he's going to ask you out. And I was like, I mean, maybe, whatever.
And did Letterman call you?
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
But at 2 a.m.
okay, it's Letterman.
That's
fine.
true.
He can get away with he
He's
can do
probably
whatever
just
he
waking up.
wants.
Actually, it's super flattering. It's the
He
first
can
thing
do
you want to
whatever
do.
he wants.
He was kind of flirty.
He's the best.
He was amazing.
He's
Oh,
the
he was amazing.
fucking greatest of all time.
He really is.
Continue.
Okay, so he didn't, right?
Well,
like
hold
this
on.
went nowhere. And I actually was kind of mad at you when it went nowhere.
Hold on a second.
I
He
was like-
asked for her number
Okay, that sounds
when we were taking
very
pictures
clear.
outside. He asked for her number.
And Dax's.
Both of ours. And then I walked him out and he said, Monica's so cool.
That means
Yeah, he's like telling me like, hey, Monica's so cool. How long have you guys known each other? Like he wants to know more about Monica.
so questions equal.
Interest.
Okay, I agree. I'm not there yet.
Right.
Maya, then he texted her after the episode came out. Now he has ghosted her. He
And
has
said
ghosted
what?
her.
What did he
That's
say in
not
the
what
text?
happened.
Was he like, you up?
Me and
wish.
Letterman are just hanging.
That would have been more clear. I would have liked that.
It wasn't clear.
No, and that's also not what happened. He texted right after we recorded and said like, hey, I got you or something.
I'm sorry?
I know. That's like new slang. I'm learning it too.
What does it mean?
Like, I got your number.
That's flirty to me.
He has ghosted her for sure. But there's another thing going on, which is there's also a reality of the world. This guy is very popular right now. He's traveling all around and a lot of girls like him. And he probably likes several girls. And so, yeah, he probably has his hands full and he ghosted Monica. But I still maintain he liked her and he did reach out to her and he did ask for her number.
Yes.
And to say that this young dude with every option in the world is like a great pursuer of things, I'm not making that argument. And he probably is distracted by all kinds of hot comedy dong right now.
So much comedy, Dom.
Well, I know, but like,
Listen, I've never been anywhere in my life and then randomly met someone and then decided to get their number and then text them because I want to be friends with a stranger. He liked you.
I also don't think I've ever pursued anyone myself. So I don't know how it works. I can only imagine it can be painful when you pursue people and they don't reciprocate. So maybe his move is not so cool, but he tried.
then I texted him, and then I was flirting,
Yep.
and then there
Did you
was
say you
full-
up?
That's what everyone says. That's the go-to.
That's the only text, actually.
Yeah.
There's one button now on younger people's phone, and it's just one button that says you up.
Ooh, that's a great idea. Patent that,
I
hurry.
texted him, and I was flirty, and then there was no
He ghosted.
response.
Gross.
I was mad at you first because I was the easy target. And then I really was honest with myself and I was like, man, this is why I don't do this.
No, Monica.
Yes, you
that's
put
not the
yourself out
right
there.
lesson.
Yeah, because I know
But you-
it's, listen, stop.
Okay.
So it's like, he likes you. That was me protecting myself. And then I was like, you know what? No, I am gonna text him. I am gonna flirt. And then full ghosting was like, oh yeah, this is why you don't do this.
I totally get it. I've been ghosted in that way as well, and it makes you feel like, oh, no good deed goes unpunished. Why did I fucking open like a sliver of my
know,
heart?
and I wasn't going to. I
You
was
went
being
against-
smart.
Yeah, you went against what you thought was right.
But again, there is a reality that this person has been out of town virtually since we met him, and he's being nominated for everything. And there are a lot of girls, I'm sure, in his sphere.
Whatever, you
All
say
that's
I'm
not
busy.
good, but it does not say that he didn't actually like
Oh,
her.
he liked you.
Yes.
It's clear to me. But I will say, I don't think it's the last text you'll ever get from him.
Well, it might be the last
This
text he
episode's
ever
brought
gets
to you
from
by
me.
Laudi Mio.
Laudi Mio,
Maso mio.
Anyway,
That
we
was fun.
really got derailed.
I disagree. That was good rail. I think you're right. And I love that you've thought about it. That makes me love you more because I know as my friend you see me. So that makes me feel really good. And I'm also in good company because it's such a similar experience. I was, in a small group of kids growing up and felt so ugly duckling vibes.
Yeah.
I'm going to also say it was compounded by you're in LA at Crossroads. Some of the white people that are relative to you are like princesses on planet Earth. It's not even just like you're rummaging around my hometown in Michigan. It's pretty extreme.
And I had a similar thing of like the boy I loved my whole childhood. The elementary school that I went to, we were a small group of kids, it was 25 kids, and I was in love with Dax. He was, you know him?
Never. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
my breath went away because I heard you were in love with Dax.
I know,
First came
that's-
out.
Well, I told you, you're the only other Dax I've ever
That's
known.
the only Dax other than him I've ever heard
Dax
of.
was the love of my life, and he did not love me back. All my friends do. I loved him. I loved him. I loved him. He was
So much.
fucking huge, and he had this big blonde bowl cut. He's super hot now. He's grown out of his bowl cut, but he's very handsome, married man. In the old days, he was the love of my life. I just knew that that was my person, and we were really good friends. And then junior high, great friends, and I was like, it's about to happen.
Yeah.
This is about to go down.
Yes.
Nothing happened.
Oh.
And then he left school, but then he came back as a senior. And I think he had the nerve to tell me at our 30th high school reunion, like, oh, I was in love with you. I was like, you know what, bitch? First of all, that doesn't count.
Exactly.
Now.
And do you even believe him?
I don't.
I do.
I don't
I
believe him.
do.
Like, why didn't he tell me then?
You guys, both of you.
It's easy for him to say now.
Thank you.
You guys are the smartest and dumbest fucking people I've ever met. Monica, can you look at Maya and go, of course anyone would be in
Oh,
love with
yeah.
her? Duh.
100%.
And then Maya, can you look at Monica and
I
go like,
know,
of
but like,
course.
but it doesn't penetrate.
Yeah, it's true. Did you have a thing that I've figured out I have in therapy, which is I seek specifically white male approval so much because that was who was rejecting me all the time?
Oh, God. I have to think about that
Maya
one.
just threw her hands in the air like she was at a gospel.
It just like sent a
Spiritual.
shiver down my spine. I'm trying to think. I mean, yes and no, because I feel like I've also worked out some things. I also have, well, my dad's Jewish. I guess he looks white. My dad is superhuman great guy. He's like the best guy in the world, so I don't have bad dad stuff. It's really interesting. There's a type of white guy that I know I'm invisible to.
Interesting.
And it's kind of like a fratty guy. They can't see me. I don't register for them. They don't know what to make of me.
There's just some opaqueness.
They
in the
don't get
air.
it, and they don't want to get it. It doesn't compute. And I do find that very fascinating.
Yeah. God, again, I'm not sure I believe you entirely, but I think probably 80%.
There's no way to know.
There isn't. I'd have to be around you and some blowhard jocks to see.
You're triggering a slight memory of being single. By the way, I've only had like 3 boyfriends.
Yeah. You've not really been single much in your life.
No, but that's the thing. They're just long relationships. I haven't been like dong to dong or anything like that.
Don't know where this dong ends and that one begins.
I mean,
And
it's
sometimes they're
endless dong.
Same time.
But I do remember being in a bar once, like on the west side. Maybe I was in Venice. And my hair was, I started relaxing it when I was at SNL, but before it was my natural curls. It's very thick, natural curly hair.
It's quite beautiful. I've seen many photos, and you used to be at the Groundlings with that.
At the Groundlings, yeah. Once I got to SNL and couldn't get under the wigs, we had to like reroute. And then I just never got out of the route. I'm going to get there one day.
I look forward to it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Me too.
But I was going to say, I met a guy at a bar and he was like, hey, wild woman.
Oh,
Oh my
And I remember being like,
God.
oh, that's what you see.
Yeah.
you're so right to be upset. And also, you've got to consider the source sometimes. It's like you're like giving these dumb 20-year-old people that are drunk some kind of wisdom they don't have.
I know,
Like,
but they're
that guy's
running
like
the
he's
world
swinging
at
for
the
the fences.
time.
Thank you. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Let me just say, like, you're assuming he really thinks that. And then I'm going, like, on the walk up to you, he's running through ideas. I'm going to say, hey, sexy mama. No, hey, chicky mama. Oh, wild woman. Like,
Again, butthole is tight.
Yeah.
it's like
Totally
this dude, you just don't even know what he was cycling through before he landed.
Wild woman.
That's a 0.
You lose.
Yes. But I do want to say, to bring it all the way back, I couldn't be more grateful that wasn't our trajectory
Yes.
because
Yeah.
I've got to be friends with you for 20 years and I've loved it so much. And you're right. We have a very fun, flirty time together. We play.
I knew in anticipation of today that my stomach was going to hurt, and I was really excited about that.
Yeah, same. And that's probably the best outcome you can have.
Agreed.
Okay, now when I was reflecting back, I'm embarrassed by several things from that period.
Really?
Yes.
You were on a journey at that time.
I was on a journey. I was sober while we were working, but I hadn't fully figured that out yet. That was coming in 6 months.
remember that.
Yeah. But beyond that, I had been trying for 8 years to get employment. And then you met me. Punk'd had aired 9 months before that. And I just done one movie. And then I was there doing this movie with you. So like I was so enamored with everything. I was so ambitious. I had such interest in everything, in fame, all this stuff. You were very patient with me. I was thinking back today of some of the things you had to kind of just wade through. And now that I have daughters who have famous parents, I have an entirely different perspective that I didn't have then. So like my daughter recently shared with me, we're in the pool. She was going to go to a friend's house. And I said, when you go to this sleepover, do you downplay how much money we have or where we've been? And she goes, for sure. But also those friends know I really hate talking about that. And I said, oh, do people want to talk to you about that a lot? And she goes, yeah, at least twice a week someone comes up to me on the playground. I was like, are you rich? What's your mom like?
Wow.
That whole thing that she has to deal with, that's a bummer. Of course, I grew up broke and I wanted people to think I was rich enough. She's got this thing and it's a completely other thing I would have never anticipated. But I think about that in the same way. I wanted to know about your mom and I love your mother's music and I would sing. I did this kind of Tourettically. I don't know if you remember this. I would sing Loving You all the time. And you at one point finally had to say like, you got to stop singing that around me.
I did, huh?
Yeah.
Good for you. I'm glad you said
But
I
I'm
am
glad
too.
I said it if that's how I felt. I'm sure I was honest with you about why it's too painful.
It's very painful, which of course I'm so stupid. I'm not even thinking that. I'm thinking you must be so proud that was your mom. My mother didn't die at 7. I don't know what you're thinking. But right after you told me, we were then filming a scene in like a stadium and there was all kinds of extras and they were local hires from all over Texas. So it was like a whole cross section of folks. And several people came up to you and just started talking to you about your mom. And then I went like, oh my God, yeah, I was doing that too. And no wonder this is a very complicated topic. And yeah, these strangers want to come up to you and talk to you about that. I could see how rough it was. But I did it. And I didn't
also
know.
what's interesting is there's so many layers to it. Strangers as opposed to a friend who's like, oh, this is cool to talk about, but not having that thought, oh, maybe this person doesn't want to talk about it. Also, that was at a different stage in my life where that would be painful to me. Whereas now I'm just like, oh my God, okay, yeah, go ahead, go for it, sing it. But it's not painful. But I was still
Right.
pretty young. And it wasn't like a magic bullet of, oh, I have kids, now I'm healed. But after I started having my kids, I think I looked back and went like, oh, I don't feel the pain in the same way, but it's never going to be gone. It's just that I hadn't processed any of it at that time in my life. I watched Terms of Endearment recently as an adult parent.
Oh, I should do that.
Ooh, because she's saying goodbye to her kids. She knows she's dying.
Oh.
And it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
Brutal. But I didn't identify that when I saw it before because I wasn't a parent. I wasn't a mom.
Right.
But yeah, that's so interesting. And I don't remember.
You don't. It's funny, a lot of the stuff I carry around. I even remember being kind of overly interested that you were dating Paul. You know, of course, I worshipped him like every other boy as a director.
And that was new for us. We were still kind of figuring it out. Like, I don't even know if we were on or off at that time. It was like early doors.
Yeah. You were on, and I remember calling him by his full name. And I remember this look on your face. I was like, oh, yeah, I just did something really weird. I clearly just fell off the turnip truck, and I don't know what I'm doing.
But that's also you. Like, of course you said his full name, you know?
Yeah, it is.
You're dad. You've always been dad.
Well, so the other thing that confused me greatly, you might remember this, but I remember you and I had this conversation, which is when you signed on to do that movie, you had to give them an option.
Oh my God. Again, I'm like, wait, what?
The then head of comedy, or maybe she was the president of Fox. I don't even remember what position she had, but very high up. She wanted to have a meeting with you. Your life was very, very hectic. No questions about it. You're shooting that movie and you were doing SNL and a lot was going on, but you were like, I don't know when I'm going to go talk to this person about blah, blah. And I said, there's an executive that wants to make a movie with you. This is such good news. And you're like, yeah, I don't know. I say that because I've continued to witness this the whole time I've known you. You have this very, very loose, confident relationship with this job, which almost none of us have. I think I've come to have it, but you've always had this very take it or leave it, or at least from the outside.
I know I have it. It's super weird. And I don't know why.
You have no explanation for it.
I don't, but I agree with you. I even heard myself say something this morning. I was like, I like to walk. Like, if it doesn't work, I like to walk. I don't
very
know.
healthy.
And I don't consider myself the healthiest person emotionally. I've had lots of therapy, but I did start to notice that I'm like that. I'm sure it has something to do with my parents growing up in an entertainment, like a musical household, because they were musicians, they weren't actors. But that felt very relaxed to me. And their friends did it, and that was really relaxed. And there was something about that that was pretty fucking cool, but also really normal. My trajectory was I wanted to go to New York, and I wanted to be on Saturday Night Live.
For the experience,
Yes.
not necessarily to have a bunch of movies that you lead and all that.
I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, I wanted that too. I understand that drive to be somewhere else, forage in a new city and create my own path. But that's a huge undertaking. I wasn't like, oh, my dad writes songs. That's going to make me a comedian. There was no direct line. I knew I had to get there myself. And also it's interesting because my mom was a singer that not all my friends were that aware of at the time. Everybody that knows who I am now knows that's my mom. But growing up, I didn't feel like she was a household name. I felt like she was special.
Yeah.
We didn't have MTV yet, and she was never on it.
She was also insanely young when
She was
died.
31 when she died.
31. Think about that.
Isn't that wild?
It's fucking nuts.
20
You've
years
lived
younger.
20 years longer.
Wow.
I'll never get over how young she was. I was talking about it with my 10-year-old daughter yesterday because my mom died of cancer. Growing up with the knowledge of cancer, it was just a death sentence for people. And now we have so many people that we know that are getting through it. I never would have imagined a world where, yeah, you could survive.
Totally. When you heard someone's parent had cancer, you were hearing they were dying.
They're dying.
dead.
That's right. That knowledge of people know my mom was a singer, but they don't really know who my mom was. Or they're like, oh, I love that song. And then they're like singing an Aretha Franklin song. And I was like, wait, what?
R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
Yeah, it was
McFly-O-Vision.
It was just very confusing. And then my last name is Rudolph and not Ripperton. So when I started doing SNL, people didn't really know she was my mom, and I figured it out later. So look, when you're a kid and your mom dies, you don't want people to know that.
Yeah.
But then
Right.
people are like, oh, and she was a singer, right?
Right, this added element.
Let's talk about it. You're like, no, dude.
If-
I'm 8. I don't want to talk about it.
Right. If she hadn't been a singer, you probably would have had to talk about it far less.
For sure.
We interviewed Jason Ritter, and he told this story that's really heartbreaking. And America felt a certain way about John Ritter. It's not just that people knew who he was. We all loved John Ritter.
He was ours.
Yes. And so he's talking about being at a bar, and all of a sudden this girl like leans over the thing, and she's like, I loved your dad. And then she turns around, Cosmos for everyone. In the same breath, and he's like, oh my God, how am I supposed to react to what just happened?
Oh, boy.
My second theory,
I love all your theories. This is fun.
yeah, it's so kind of entitled, or there's something about it that is obnoxious, but nevertheless, some part of you thinks you were supposed to be a singer. And so all of the other stuff was great,
That's a good point.
but some voice in your head was like, I'm eventually supposed to step up to the plate and do that.
I will probably never do it professionally or for real, I should say. Because I have a band.
Princess.
Yeah, but it's fun. There's no me in there.
There's a little protective layer
There is
over
a
Maya.
large protective layer, which is usually called comedy,
Right.
Also referred to
as comedy. And I don't sound like my mom when I sing. So I'm good.
Meaning you don't sing as good as her, so why would you do it?
Yes, I think in my mind, my whole life,
Oh God,
like,
Maya, this is another thing. So, fuck.
let me be clear. I
Okay.
think there's an expectation. My mother had a 5-octave range. I'm a singer in my heart and soul. I'm actually more of a harmonizer. I love a harmony, but that requires other voices. But you're not going to see me solo Aerosmith style rocking the mic.
This is a little bit like Boys. I'm sorry. Because here's what the rest of us were thinking.
Okay.
We'd watch these SNL sketches. It's so funny. You're so funny. And then you have this moment where you're like, this isn't funny at all. This is outrageously great singing. Kristen thinks you're dynamite. Anyone who sings thinks you're a dynamite singer.
Well, I'm shocked that Kristen does because she's a singer, but that's also because I think she loves me and I love her.
I don't think so. But I think this is Boys.
This is Boys.
This
You're
is
right.
Boys all
Well,
over.
maybe as a parent to children of people who are creative, you will appreciate this. It's something that I do to myself. I've seen it in my children sometimes where they'll start something and I can see the gears turning of like, if this isn't great, I'm not going to do it.
Yes.
So that's me with real music. And I say real music meaning pouring my heart and soul and bearing my voice.
being really vulnerable about it.
Yeah, so there's 2 things I've never done that I know I could try if I wanted to and I refuse to. And one is that kind of music where I'm bearing my fucking soul.
You let it rip like Sinead O'Connor.
Like
and you
Sinead
go,
O'Connor.
here's the inside of my body.
Yeah, now I sing that in the car.
Yeah.
But
I
no
wanna
one
be
will
in there.
no one will ever be in there.
I'm going to be in your trunk one day.
Surprise. And then the second one is stand-up comedy. Because to me, stand-up comedy is very naked.
Oh, yeah.
And I have never done it.
Do you berate yourself for not having done
No,
it?
I recognize why, and I understand, and I'm proud of myself for that self-care of, oh, you don't feel comfortable doing that. You feel comfortable doing this, and you follow that. Good for you. I'm proud of you that you figured that one out.
Oh, that's good.
But I am more comfortable with the idea of being naked in that comedy way more than I used to be. I have no aspirations to become a stand-up, but I do think it would be kind of fun to try it.
You just did some shows with Tina and Amy, right? Did something happen there where you were like, oh, right.
No stand-up, but I did get to watch their stand-up, which, again, I think we're all at a place in our lives where we know ourselves a lot better, and I fully enjoyed watching that.
Yeah.
Knowing my friends in that way and watching their versions of what that was absolutely fascinating. In college, you want to be a comedian, and I would write stand-up. And I was like, there's no fucking way I'm going to say any of this publicly, ever.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's now being so comfortable on a stage. Not that I'm Mr. Cool every time I'm on stage. Of course, I get nervous, but there's a
got
different
a lot
experience.
of validation.
A lot of
from it.
experience. It's that thing of like, if you've walked the room, then you're more comfortable. If you've never done it, I've done it. So at a place like Largo, for example, it's a very comfortable stage. I know the stage well. I know what it looks like, so it doesn't freak me out. The sound of your voice, your actual voice in the microphone, that doesn't freak me out anymore. So I feel like it would be interesting.
Yeah.
More of like as a human fun experiment and also just for
cares?
joy.
That's what I want to do. I don't have any aspirations of going to do this, but if I'm on my deathbed and I'm like, wow, you really never did it, I just felt like I would be very bummed that I knew I wanted to and I was afraid.
You think that now the reason that you would be able to do it is just far more self-confidence?
Well, I did it for about 1.5 years or 2 years and I loved it. And then we had kids and then I never did it again. And it went pretty well. It went better than I was expecting. And then what I have is a really arrogant thing, which is I watch someone else's stand up and I'm so blown away by it.
That you think you can
and
do
I
it?
feel like, not that I can do what they can do, but I go, I do have a point of view I haven't figured out how to share comedically. I have something about vulnerability and trauma and all these different things and addiction that I'm not seeing someone do that. I feel like at least the ingredients are in there. I should challenge myself to try to do that. So it's more driven by that. Okay, this loosey-goosey relationship with the business, in a way, you've won hugely because of it. I was watching an interview with you and Amy today.
What time did you get up today?
I got up with Letterman at 2 a.m. You guys were sharing about, you had been there just before she got there. And there was this very specific scene where you guys started actually having fun, where it had transcended the nerves of doing the show and the getting the thing right. And something happened between the two of you. And it was the first moment for both of you where you were like, oh, you can have a very good time while doing this. And then once that happened, that just gave rise to however many things you guys did together. And you would write in effort to get to that point.
Yes.
Where you two were having fun on stage.
Yeah.
Not that that wouldn't have all happened, but if you're crazy ambitious and competitive and you're strangleholding this, I think you're being more threatening to a lot of people.
Sure.
I think you've had tremendous friendships. I'm sorry, I'm going to go backwards. Here's the analogy I'd make. Kobe Bryant won more championships than
Which one? Am I Kobe or
than
Shaq?
Shaquille.
Am I Kobe and you're Shaq?
I'm neither.
I just want to be one of them.
You're Shaq. So listen,
man, wow.
Shaq only won 3 rings, but Shaq is best friends with everyone he's ever played with.
Right.
When there's a doc on him, people can't wait to go talk about them. And when you think of the big win in life, I've just always been like, I'm aspiring to be Shaq.
You bring up something that's interesting because I don't see myself that way, but Amy's really into, is it Enneagrams? Is that how you say
Oh,
it?
Enneagrams? Yeah.
That's your number, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, still can't remember what
I know, same.
Neither.
But she remembers mine. She remembers mine.
Yes,
she remembers
yes,
hers. She remembers all of ours.
She probably can guess people's before they take
And
the
she
test.
can guess people's before.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
one of the things that she reminds me of is that my number, which for the life of me I cannot remember, I want to say it's 7, and I bet it's 8 or 9.
Textbook 7, can't remember her number.
And that's what she reminds me of. But also that I like to have fun. And I also have heard myself say when it comes to work, a lot of my work has been because of the Groundlings and because of SNL, and that's a group-based comedy. It's like comedy sport. I know I'm going to get to play with my friends, which is exactly what we did. And that, to me, is why I say yes to things. And so I've heard myself say, oh, it's going to be so fun. Now, I can be a moody bastard. I'm not somebody who seems like the ketamine therapy has worked all the time. Like, I definitely can be grumpy, but I want to have fun when I'm making stuff, specifically comedy, which is what I prefer to do. And that, to me, has always been the MO. So it's really interesting because I didn't really notice that in myself. It was my friend saying, you always like to have fun. I was like, fuck, you're right. I like to have fun with my friends and I like to laugh super hard. I feel funnier because they are making me laugh and I want to make them laugh. So I feel funnier and I get funnier because I want to make someone who I adore and admire and who I think is so fucking funny laugh. That's where it comes from.
I think the reward of it is like you've had all these wonderful little mini partnerships, like Forte or with Amy, or you and Armisen are just so delightful. And clearly you have so much fun together. And when I'm around him, I'm like, yeah, I just want to get this guy to giggle more than anything.
Oh, it's the best thing in the world.
Oh, yeah. I just admire the way you've done this since I've met you for 20 years. I'll give you a great example. Like you did chips for me, which was such a huge, lovely thing to do. And oh my God, did we have fun. It's still my favorite scene in the movie. It's so weird.
That was such a sweet rekindling of love.
It was. I remember acting with you and just having so much fun and thinking like, well, I just would like it if this scene just went on for another 5 hours.
Yes.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Did you do any group sports as a kid?
It wasn't great at sports. So I did like a girls' softball team. I did a lot of roller skating, which is a solo sport.
Okay.
And I danced. But I was a theater kid.
Yeah.
As soon as I could, I was in every musical, which is kind of a team sport.
It is a team sport. And I think if you have an early experience of what it feels like to be on a team, I was just thinking about this the other day. I was thinking about someone and I was like, man, they really would have benefited from being on a team sport because you understand the feeling of thriving together
Having each other's back.
and how much better it feels.
Winning together instead of solo.
Yeah, it feels better.
And if I'm really thinking about what you're bringing up, there is something that I am avoiding. I don't want that. Everybody, can I have your attention, please? Look at me.
Well, the reason I brought up chips is I've also asked you to be on the podcast like 11 times.
You have?
Yeah. And you're like, yeah, I will. I'll get to it. Because that would be you doing the exact thing you're talking about. Like you coming in and being just
Talking
you.
about yourself.
Talking about yourself. You're like, But if I invite you to play in a movie, you're there in 1 second. I think that's
think
kind
you're
of very
right.
indicative
Yes.
of you.
I'm a little bit of a shy guy. I'm a little hider.
Yes.
Like the wolf spider.
I'm a wolf spider. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Wolf spider.
Please call me Wolf Spider forever.
Oh, I will for sure. Rudy the wolf spider.
Rudy the Wolf Spider. I did Finding Your Roots, the genealogy show with Skip Gates. We went back. He said at the time it was the furthest he'd gone back in Jewish genealogy. And my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was Wolf Rudashevsky.
Wolf. Now, your grandfather in Florida owned all the Wendy's in Miami-Dade County.
Sid Rudolph, that's right.
Wow.
Did you get to go there
To
and
Wendy's?
order whatever you wanted? Did you have like a family card?
No, I fucking wanted one.
Did you? I loved Wendy's.
Me too, but we didn't have that in California when I was a kid. It was a really big deal.
What age did you move here?
I grew up here, but my family was in Miami. My dad grew up in Miami. All the Rudolphs were in Florida.
Eating that good old free Wendy's.
Eating those Frosties and dipping their
Frosties.
fries in their Frosties. And I never got to do it unless we'd visit my family because we were the only Rudolphs that lived in California.
And would you go with Grandpa to some of his Wendy's?
Probably.
Like when Dave
probably.
Thomas would visit?
I never met Dave.
Oh, shit. Or Wendy.
Was he real? Wendy, we know she's not real.
She's not real? Isn't she
I
Dave
thought it was
Thomas's
the
daughter?
coolest thing.
Yes.
And I learned something later in life that I didn't know. My grandfather, we could do an entire show about him. Incredibly fascinating man. My dad's father, Sid Rudolph. He was always an incredible businessman. And he and his brother, Lenny, before the Wendy's stuff, they created a thing called Trip Charge, which was a card that you could take with you on trips and charge money to. And they sold it to Diners Club and it became the credit card.
No.
Oh my God.
And he also owned all the Rudy's, which ding,
Well, they
ding,
created
ding,
Rudy's.
Rudolph.
Yeah, Rudy's was my uncle, Doug, and my grandfather Sid. Those were their restaurants.
Oh my Lord.
Wow.
Have you heard of a Rudy's before?
Yes. I'm
Really?
down south quite a bit.
Wait a minute. Of course you have. You're the guy that
So this
introduced
is-
me to Olga.
Okay, great, because that's on my list. It's the last thing I want to talk about before we talk about loot.
We need to talk about Olga's.
We have to, because again, this is in keeping with how patient you were with me. You went to whatever we said, Boston Market.
I sure did. You introduced me to Hooters as an eating establishment.
Yeah, good chicken sandwich.
That's what you said then.
I know.
It was the buffalo chicken sandwich, to be exact.
It is
was
actually
delightful.
dynamite, unfortunately.
It's
I wish they
dynamite.
had like a drive-through.
Unfortunately.
Well, I don't
No,
want to
we
be in
ate
there.
inside.
I know there was no option.
You are reminding me that there was a joy for me in how much you loved it and how disinterested I was in ever eating there, and yet I wanted to know.
Yeah.
And the fact that
Well, you're a
you
bit of an
loved it,
anthropologist. You like to go see someone in their habitat.
I loved it. Was so fun to me that you wanted this that I had to experience it, and I had to see your joy.
How happy I was.
You were so happy, and I remember it, and I remember really liking it.
It's a really good chicken sandwich.
I haven't been back.
Yeah. But what happens is those gals are flirty with you.
I don't feel like they were flirty with us at all.
Well, my first thing is like, you don't have to do any of that. I feel bad about this part of it.
Sure. Did you look down at the menu?
Oh, God.
My memory, again, is horrible, but I do remember it not being a terribly flirty experience. I remember
No,
it being
no,
very
no.
normal, and I was like, oh, it's because I'm here.
Oh, like normally this would be going off.
Yeah, like they have a code that they're like, hey there,
Hey, cowboy.
what are we going to have today, sailor? And I felt like, oh, he's with a girl, we're good. I don't have to put that voice on.
Okay, so while we were there, I was telling you about my very favorite Greek restaurant
We were getting to know each other and telling each other our entire life stories, and one of them was your favorite restaurant.
in Michigan. Is
Yeah.
this place, Olga's. And they're all over in Michigan. Huge chain.
I missed the chain part when you told me about it.
And by the way, me even knowing that they were all over the place didn't mean it was a chain to me somehow. I know that makes no sense. But then we got home from the trip and fucking by George, I discovered there was a singular Olga's in California and it was in Thousand Oaks, which was not far from where you lived. And Bree and I had gone and I called you. I'm like, you're not going to believe this. Like, you guys are only 20 minutes from an Olga's. Okay, take over.
So I said to Paul, we have to go. We have to go to Olga's. Dax says this is his favorite Greek restaurant.
Oh no.
I feel like there was a specific dish that you kept mentioning.
You need the original Olga with triple cheese and the cheese snackers and then the bottomless salad.
Oh, Oh,
So I said,
And the whole thing's $9.
we have to go. And I'm thinking there's this magical Greek
culinary masterpiece.
tiny hole in the wall. Can you believe it's in California? We're about to have
The most authentic.
the most authentic Greek culinary experience of our entire life.
I'm sweating.
So
I'm so
we
embarrassed.
get in the car and we fucking barrel it out to Thousand Oaks. And I'm so excited. This is reminding me how much I love this guy. It's like my buddy. And I'm telling you, I don't even know, were we texting yet in those days? Maybe it was early texting.
One
with like
number at
button.
a time. Yeah.
Oh,
And
it's
I'm
so
thrilled.
much worse that you went with Paul and not together.
Oh, we were not together.
Right.
I went with Paul and I was like, you're not going to believe this.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
And by the way, at this point, when we're single digit texting, I'm like, I can't wait for this review. They're going to thank me. The amount of thanks I'm about to get.
So we go, we find it. I was like, oh, wait, shit. I see it from the freeway. And I was like, get off here. Oh my God, we're here.
It's in
Pull in and I was-
total strip mall.
I was very surprised at what I discovered. It looked like a very straightforward, not at all a mom and pop shop.
No. Robots could have been making
It's a
everything.
Robots were
TGI
making-
Fridays.
That's right.
I've also been.
Oh, so you know.
In Michigan. It's a little closer to the source.
So, yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Did you like it?
I did, but I
You
knew
knew.
what I was walking
I knew how to
into.
sell it
Yeah.
at this point
Yeah, you
So-
learned your lesson.
because of this experience.
Yeah, so I was expecting like the finest hummus that I've ever.
Probably flaming cheese.
Flaming
Oopa!
cheese, absolutely. Pita bread just melting in my mouth.
Yeah, we have dishes of La Diamonia everywhere.
So we sit down at a booth among the other commoners.
And you're directly across from the cowboy doors that go into
That's
the kitchen.
right. So to my right are these cowboy doors,
Saloon doors.
which I will never forget. Important component to the story. So sitting there, I'm like, all right, Dax says we got to get these poppers and these bottomless salad, and these things are supposed to be really good. And I'm kind of like looking around, like I feel like we're at a McDonald's, but I'm not gonna say that. You got to trust what you taste.
Are you also feeling codependent for Paul? Like, I brought
Yes.
him here.
That's right.
Yep.
You are also mentioning the underlying factor of I have fucking vouched for this
Yes.
place.
Oh, yeah.
yes.
And it's
You've
going to be
driven.
fucking great. We've driven to Thousand Oaks.
You're halfway to Santa Barbara.
That's right. For this food. So we're still in it. And he's gotten to know you and loves you. And he's like, my man says this is great.
Yes.
So we finally have somebody come over to our table. They took our order at our table. We did not order at a counter.
Okay.
Right.
We ordered and I said, we'll have this and this. And I'm thinking like, maybe we'll get that first. And they write everything down. They leave our table and they walk to the saloon doors where they exit. And then the saloon doors fly back open.
They didn't stop swinging.
And all of our food was ready. And they brought it to the table. And we kind of looked at each other like, what the fuck is going on?
It's like a Twilight Zone or something.
Wait, it gets so much better.
Oh, no.
So we're sort of like, oh, that really was really fast. All right. That's the Olga's secret, is what my brain is telling me. That's the Olga's secret.
That's the old Olga's 1, 2, 3.
I'm sure Grandma Olga's back there right now.
She had your booth mic'd. So, like, she was whipping it up before it even got back to the kitchen.
So our spanakopita was hot. All of it.
The salad was hot.
It was hot. So we dig in, and I'm kind of looking at Paul like,
Oh, no.
what am I missing here? Is somebody fucking
Is it
with
good?
us? And then I look at him, and he looks at me, and he goes, are we dead?
I will never forget. I mean,
For
what
the
a
rest
review.
of my life.
What a review.
I've never heard a funnier thing said.
Oh, are we dead?
Are we dead?
Like, yeah, maybe you died on the drive up there.
Oh, my God.
Are
That's
we
incredible.
It was worth the price of admission.
Oh, that
Oh,
is
fuck.
so funny.
It's so funny, too. Talk about stories and stuff. Like, when you gave me your review of the experience, it's like I had a bag over my head, and all of a sudden I saw the reality of life. And I was like, oh, you're right. There are a million of them, and it is fast food. And shit, I sent them all the way up there.
Oh my God. But guess what?
Oh,
Like,
God,
I
that's
went
incredible.
because of how much you loved it, and that made me so happy.
Poppers.
Are we dead?
till the day I die, the most classic line ever delivered by a human being. Are we dead?
That is
Oh, man.
impeccable. I mean, wow.
I wonder how much of the food you even ate.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what anything tasted like. I just remember having an almost out of body experience. Like, what's happening?
Yes.
What's going on?
The Zagat review would have said, like, this Greek airplane food,
Oh.
this Greek Denny's.
Oh, God.
I probably would have thought I was being punked.
I think we probably said that.
Yeah.
Over and over and
Sure,
over.
sure, sure,
Are we being punked?
Wow.
Oh, it was great. If I say Dax, Paul usually just says Olga.
I mean, the fact that you remember the name of it, because it was 20 years ago.
I will never stop remembering.
And sadly, it closed down very shortly after that. Because I was
I think it
going
was
up
after
there.
that public review. Are we dead? Really was the nail in the coffin.
Come in for the poppers, stay because you're dead. Olga's.
The other element of this that was such a joy was you really enjoyed our review.
I love being embarrassed.
You do?
I do. I understand why some men didn't like Barbie. I love Barbie so much, and I've watched it 4 times because I love when I recognize, oh my God, I've done that. Oh my God, I've explained The Godfather to a woman. You saw it, I presume?
Of course.
Yeah, so we're driving home, and it's the 2 little girls and Kristen and I'm driving, and from the back seat, Lincoln goes, Mom, has Dad ever played his guitar at you? And Kristen goes, oh, yeah. And I just started fucking cackling with
Oh,
embarrassment.
it's wonderful.
Yeah, I love like when I'm so stupid sometimes. It just really gets me.
I know that you enjoy it and it's reciprocal. You know I love you and therefore I'm
Yes.
laughing
You
at
weren't
you
mad.
with you.
Yeah.
But also I enjoy the delight that you get from that.
Well, the
that makes
reason-
me feel good.
The reason the whole thing can be good is because you are the type of people that I like to think I am too, which is like if something's going wrong, my kind of first reaction is like, oh, good, I'll have a story. All in all, that trip's not a bummer for you guys. It's
Never.
this very funny moment in your life where Paul said the funniest thing that's ever been said about a meal. And then ultimately everyone's delighted it all happened. So there is some level. If you would have called me like, what the fuck was that? Paul's never going to trust me again. I probably wouldn't have been able to laugh at
Oh,
myself.
I would have been like pit in my stomach.
Yes. So the fact that you guys had a pretty good natured reaction, I felt like I was an 8-year-old who told you my favorite restaurant. And that's basically
But
what it
also,
was.
like, not everybody has that sense of humor about themselves that you can all talk about something. So you refrain. So that's the joy.
Why do I have a memory of us meeting there and going a second time? I feel like me, you, Bree, Paul.
I bet you dreamt
and-
it.
You think so? There's no way you guys would have gone back, did you? Because I almost
I
feel like
do
it
think we
was so
talked about
funny.
it.
Maybe I know that I had dinner with you and Paul and Bree one time, and I guess I thought
You
it was
think we
there.
went to Olga's?
Check with Paul.
You know what? He would remember.
We went somewhere. You know, and the other thing I would do too is like I was just such a Philistine and a simpleton. I had to have my birthday at Buco de Beppo in the Pope room, and I like made famous friends at this point. I didn't even understand that they thought it was pretty crazy. My birthday was in the strip mall.
I've still never been there.
You gotta go. It's so fun. You go to the Pope room.
looks fun.
It's so fun.
the fact that there's a
Maybe we
Pope-
should have a big family
Yeah.
meal with our kids and shit there.
There you go. That's like the perfect place.
And there's one kind of between us. So earmark this.
Good call.
Okay, Loot. I watched 3 episodes.
You
today.
don't have to do this, but God
No,
bless
no,
you,
I'm going to
sir.
do this. Because you know what? Even
Oh.
if I wasn't going to do it for you, I want to do it for the person I entered the Groundlings with, who to this day, there are 2 people having gone through the Groundlings. I said, there will be no justice on planet Earth if neither of these 2 people are recognized for how genius they are. One of them was Melissa McCarthy, because I just had known her from the beginning and she was working. She had a house before any of us did, but I was
Yeah.
like, this is not right.
Her as Suki was not the Melissa that we were on stage with. That was a very different animal.
Who you, I imagine, would agree. She's the funniest human
Arguably.
I've ever seen on that stage.
Yeah, 150%.
In all the ways, sketch, improv, everything.
That was why she was what she was in Bridesmaids. And it was that moment of all of us going like, people are going to finally see it.
Yes.
That's so
she was every legendary comedian we had grown up with, just sitting there waiting. And the other person I have always felt that way about is Nat Faxon. I
Yeah.
just have loved Nat Faxon. No one cracks me up like him. I'm just so delighted to see him on this show with you.
It's such a joy. People still don't know we've known each other for so long. Like, I guess I was maybe 23, 24, 25, somewhere in that range when I met him, which means he was a child because he's a youngster.
Yeah, he's probably 2 years younger than me. Yeah,
You're younger than me, right?
by a year or two.
So that makes a difference.
Yeah,
when
he's
you're,
probably
when you're
5
in your
years
20s.
younger than you.
And just the best. When you're with an old friend like that, it's the same thing for us. I know I'm going to laugh. I know that person knows the old me and I'm still that person for them. And all of
Yes.
that just comes to life. And people don't know that we've known each other for so long. So there's this instant camaraderie and chemistry that comes alive that we can't even help. We're just fucking around all the time.
And you get to be together on set all day long.
It's really
This is the
nice.
other thing you've managed to do is almost everything you've done's been with a friend.
I know it is by choice. And it's probably part and parcel of not that hiding thing as much as I want to feel good. I want to feel safe. I think I got better at it after I had Pearl. When I had my oldest daughter, I remember thinking how hard it was to be working away from home when I had a baby at home and how painful that was if you're doing something that doesn't feel good. And so I remember teaching myself, when you go out in the world, make sure you're happy with what you're doing because you would rather
It
be
has
at
to be
home with
worth
her.
it.
It has to be worth it. And that's not to say that it's that easy to always accomplish, but it's certainly the goal. And if you can do that, it makes a world of difference. Plus, we have the luxury of knowing so many fucking funny people. That's the thing about the group sport of it is we got so lucky.
It's almost impossible. When I look at how many of us from that 3-year time window there are all working, and you might bump into each other all over the place. It's one of the most special things in my life.
I agree with you. And I've thought about this a lot because I'm no longer a cast member at SNL. And when I go back, something I've noticed is we're now living in a time where everyone has a phone. So when we interact, it's usually not like this. It's usually people have their phones out. But when I worked at the show, we were all playing together all the time. And same thing for Groundlings. All we did was look each other in the eye and play.
Yes. I know. Fuck. I mean, that
it's
is the
changed.
crazy gift. I had all these fantasies, and this was going to feel like that, and success, and the money, and blah, blah, blah. No. The hack of all hacks is that I spent the majority of my time as an adult working playing. Can't even dress it up. Like just horsing around in school still.
Yep. My friend Jenna, who's still a stage manager at SNL, is the one who used the term, and I can't unsee it. She said, you guys used to play together. What a gift.
But also, Loot is hysterical. I didn't realize Alan Yang and Matt Hubbard had created it. Alan Yang did a ton of Master of None, which I loved. He also was on Parks and Rec. Oh, and I'd be remiss not to just say, my daughters are so obsessed with you now from Good Place because they've now binged that.
Wow.
They can't believe we know the judge. It's really funny. The people that they get it, like, wait, you really know her? It's like, yeah, you know that we know all these other people.
Don't you love that?
I do.
Wait, you know him? Or you'll remind your kids, like, yeah, you went swimming in their pool. Wait, I know him?
Yes. But you worked with them on Forever as well with Armisen, yeah.
Which is why I said yes to this, because I implicitly trusted them. That was really fun.
Yeah, and it's so funny. You were married to a guy who's the richest guy in the world, or was, and you got divorced, and there's no prenup, and you get $87 billion. And you just get to play pretty much an asshole. Is it not the funnest thing to
It's
play?
the funnest thing. But just like everything I do, I get nervous to be too much of an asshole because then you're going to fucking hate me. So I try to infuse it with some human qualities that I can understand. Because I was just having this conversation with a friend earlier today. There's certain things you do to people if you're really mad at somebody, for example, like, I'm mad at you, so that's your trash and it needs to be thrown away, but I'm not going to throw it away because it's your trash. I couldn't live with myself. It's going to get fucking thrown out.
Right.
So if you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep at night. It's that kind of shit where I just feel like there's a part of me that I'm always seeking that little bit of the good parts in
Yes.
people. Now, if you're an arch asshole, that's the best. That's the pudding, cherry on top, best dessert in the world kind of comedy.
Disenchanted.
Correct.
Yeah, I played that bad guy one time in a comedy, and I've never had more fun in my life. You go like, what am I not allowed to say? Oh, that's what I say.
And that's the thing that, like, let's be honest, back to me and Monica's shit. I wanted people to like me. So I never wanted to be the asshole. And a lot of times, and I've even had this conversation with Lauren at SNL, and I said, like, I just want to play the wife sometimes. Like, I just want to be the girlfriend. But instead, I'm the crazy aunt. You know, like that
I got
shit.
one leg.
Yes.
I got a wooden eyeball. But I realized later, after my frustration, that those are the juicier things.
Yeah.
But no cute girl wants to do that. You want to be
don't.
pretty.
Yeah, we all want to be everything.
We all want to
actually.
be everything. And if I were just the pretty girl, boy, I sure would love a wooden leg sometimes.
Yeah.
And a
That's
wooden
right.
eye to go with it.
But I still can't get over the fact that I don't know the signs of guys hitting on me. That's going to haunt me tonight when I try to fall asleep.
Well, good. Good.
That's what we do here.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I've thought about it so much. There's so many relationships I never had because I was too busy being like faithful.
Yeah. Do you have any?
Regrets?
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I'd slept around, but I didn't. Doesn't it sound like that can be fun to look back upon?
I was a hardcore addict. I like all that. There's not any part of it that I'm not delighted I did. I'm so curious as a person. It would eat me up. That's not a virtue. That's just how I'm built.
But I like that about you. I like that you're aware of that part of yourself and very open to it.
I really am here one time. I really want to try every flavor.
I wish I'd had that. I went through life so scared of death
Well,
that I
of
was
course.
so careful for the majority of my life. And I definitely see myself very slowly getting out there and trying things on that I might not normally do. But boy, as a kid, as an adolescent, way too scared.
Yeah, like you and Paul should do some weird MDMA experience at some weird hotel.
Like ayahuasca nights.
That's not as, I don't think, fun. I think you should.
I don't know.
I don't either. I just know there's a lot of puking and shitting. I want something a little sexier.
I heard that. We stayed at a house once one summer, and I heard something that can only be described as someone gutting a deer in the middle of the night. And I was like, what's this fucking sound? And I
Glenn's
heard
finding
like,
himself.
it was like 2 a.m, and we were out by the beach. It was just like pitch black. And I was like, the fuck is happening? What fucking ritual is happening next door? And then we
Satanic.
found out later that the guy next door ran ayahuasca workshops.
Right, a bunch of people found themselves the night before.
But what a hellscape to wake up to.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay, last thing about Lou.
Yes.
The Hot Ones bit is so funny. Have you ever done the show in real life?
No, and I told Sean, first of all, that guy is a fucking prince.
He's
a delight.
And he's one of the best interviewers in the world.
Incredible.
Yes.
And what a dreamboat. But I will tell you, I would not do well on that show. And I told him, I'm really sorry. I would love to do your show, but I don't think I would be able to. Like I said, is there a way to maybe eat one or two?
Right.
Not only am I a wimp, I think it was Scarlett Johansson's might have been one of the first ones that I saw. And I saw her start to have a panic attack.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's not going to be good.
But it's such good television.
It's wonderful television. I remember, I think she was holding his hand and said, like, are you here? Are you here with me? And I thought, oh, God.
Are we dead?
Are we dead?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, you could have like an ayahuasca experience. I like when people, it gets so bad that like I saw one, it was like clicking their fingers and like and pulling on their earlobes. And I'm like, this is incredible.
I've also heard that 2 to 3 days post the taping, you shit yourself.
Ooh.
Silly. But Sean said that he gets regular checkups and he's fine.
Oh, he's probably stronger than the rest of us. I did it.
Did you do the whole thing?
I asked for an 11th wing.
Of course you did.
I'm in their hot Hall of Fame. But then Kristen went on and did the same thing and kind of showed me up. Then we got really cocky about what we could eat. And then we ate this hot chocolate with Carolina Reaper in it for charity. And we were not as good as we thought. And
So
it was
when you say
hysterical. I
not
was
as
burping
good,
uncontrolled.
what does that mean?
Like, you're supposed to take a bite. We're like, yeah, we already did Hot Ones. We'll fucking eat this whole thing. And we're filming it. And pretty quickly, I started having all these crazy burps and I'm drinking milk. Then I was rocking. And then I was like, it's not good. Like, I'm trying to call it off. Like, it's over. And then
Nope. You would never. Because here's my question. What's the goal?
we went in your childhood. Mine is if I appear to be indomitable, no one will try to victimize me. So any display of indomitability, I run towards. And it's just childhood, terrible But that's who I am now. That's how it started.
Well, I like that you wear that on your sleeve because that is what I think of you. I think you are indomitable.
Well, thank you. I'm trying so hard to convince you of that.
Honestly, I've always thought that. I do think there's a fun trust in knowing that's how I feel about my friend in that way. Like, give it to Dax, he'll eat it. That kind of thing is fun.
Sure, we can have fun with that.
I really like that.
And we have had fun with that
makes
as
you
my
feel
friends.
exactly. That'll make you feel safe.
Yeah,
I like that quite a bit.
You look, if a bear shows up, you're at least going to have some time to run. That's kind of nice.
You'll handle it,
Yeah,
right?
he'll kill me, but I will run at it.
Of course.
Yes.
But I also know that I won't be able to handle it, and therefore my buddy will.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
like that quite a bit.
not only will I do it, I secretly kind of
he's
pray
dying
for
for it
that
to
kind
happen.
of situation.
Have you been close?
Oh, sure. I've taken on a couple dudes at the CVS that were harassing Kristen.
Speaking of bears.
Well, Rudy, Maya, I love you.
Love you.
I'm so glad you came and did this.
I know. And I feel like I forgot that you would ask me 11 times because I realize now, like, yeah, I was probably terrified to talk about myself. And now I'm like, fuck it. You only go around once.
That's right.
Now you've taken on my
I'm
motto.
But now I'm just better at being okay with that stuff. I know I'll have a car ride home of like, when I said my butthole was tight, whatever the thing is. I'm like, why did I say that? But in general, I think it took me a long time to get comfortable with it. But also, it's you. That's why I'm here.
Oh, I just was so excited you finally said yes.
I love that it makes it sound like I'm in high demand. I'm not. I think you asked once, like, would you ever do it? And I was like, I don't know.
I think we asked a few times. I really do.
Really?
Yeah. You're so busy,
but
too.
I don't mind at all because look, like Polar and I are really good friends. And she actually loves the show. I'm always so flattered. She
So
listens.
she loves to hear about people's minds and how they think.
We have a similar disposition. And so I said to her, like, hey, I would love for you to do it. And she's like, Babers, I just respect the show too much to not come on and do what you're supposed to do. And I don't really want to do it. I'm like, great.
I knew I was like, oh, he knows that I'll do it if I feel comfortable. But I kind of woke up and I was like, oh, fuck, I've been feeling comfortable. Let's go.
Oh, good. Don't you think, though, you have kids, you get older, a lot of the stuff that I look back on, let's even say when I would bring up Paul, I know that whole thing. When I was with Kristen and people were following us at the beginning, I was so protective of all that.
I didn't talk
want
about it at all.
Yeah, and I didn't want anyone to take a picture. And then when we had kids, there was another round. Like the comfort level I have with it now, when I look back, I can't even find purchase in that feeling anymore. I'm like, I know that's how I was, but I can't even relate to that kind of panic about it.
It's true. And I didn't come here to say, hey, everybody, get kids. That's not the statement. But for me, I'm experiencing life the way I'm experiencing it now because there was a part of that story that I was telling myself about being the victim for the majority of my life that I needed to move forward
Because,
from.
right, you get aware, I refuse to pass this on.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And it's so much easier when that person is small and beautiful and cute and smells good and you just think they're the greatest wonder of the world. Why we don't think about ourselves that way, I will forever find fascinating for the rest of my life. And also seeing my dad with my kids, I see myself because I see him seeing me in my kids.
Yeah.
And I love that exchange too. That's just been such a beautiful life experience.
I know more than you. I'm guilty of like, they're the greatest experience times 100. And I've had some fucking epic experiences. And yeah, they kind of cured most of my existential crises. Now I know what it's like to have a singular priority and then everything else is gravy.
I like gravy.
Yeah, gravy's delicious. Well, you know where they got really good gravy? Boston Market. Oh, they smother that meatloaf.
gravy.
I like gravy. It's so good.
You didn't change your voice for the movie. It's still that one.
No, I went in there and Mike said, this is stupid. And I said, me too. Let's get out of here.
I told you this when we were making the movie. There was a guy on my hall, my freshman year in college, that talked like that.
Yeah, well, I knew a kid in high school who talked like that's where I got it.
Like his tongue was glued to the bottom of his mouth. Talk like this.
Yeah. Monica has to interact with Frito sometimes, and she
Frito
hates
makes his
it.
way onto the show quite a lot.
Because I always want to talk to her about her apartment and what's happening. In
Oh, Frito likes to take a shit in a.
predator,
He's a predator. He shits in a lazy boy.
I
there.
know.
But then you find out sometimes he's never really been with anyone, and then you
know,
kind of
of
get a
course
little
he
sad.
hasn't.
Oh, when I got in your pants, what's that like?
Oh, Frito.
Oh,
All right, I love you
I love
so
you.
much.
That was great.
So
Thank
great.
you.
Everyone watch Lutz. Season
Yes.
2 comes out on April 3rd. It's hysterical. Of course, the two people behind it and all the actors are incredible.
Yes, we have good people. But if you're a Nat Faxon stan, you're going to plot.
Apple Plus, watch it.
Wow.
Stay tuned for the fact check so you can hear all the facts that were wrong.
Okay, I've got numbers.
I've got numbers.
You know, I was a little bit late, and you know why.
Cootie.
I'm sure you saw Connections.
What happened?
Well, just I wanted to finish Connections before we got on. I was on the commode, truth be told.
Of course. I'm normally doing it also on the commode.
Yeah, it's a good place. And we have stupidly all set out on this mission now to get purple first, which is, it had to happen.
So
you have to,
arrogant.
Well, you have to elevate every game. You know, if you're riding your bicycles around, eventually you got to build a little ramp. You know, you got to keep upping it. It's the human condition. We have seen Wina now because we found an Instagram video of her speaking, and I stand corrected. It's not a middle-aged white gentleman.
No, it's as predicted, a nice Asian woman. Now, I don't want to know about her. Like, it's too much info. It feels like voyeuristic or something. I just don't want to know about her. I want her to stay Oz.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm wondering if you drill down really deep into it, what's happening. What do you think this parallels?
This is a good question.
Because it is a Monica-ism. This is very much a Monica-ism.
You think?
But yeah, but I'm having a hard time remembering other comps of when you've been this way. But you have very strong unlucky vibes or knock
it's
on
not
wood.
unlucky. I think, here's what it is. She's become a character in our lives.
Robbie, Max, Callie, and you and I.
And Robbie.
I said that's why I started at Robbie.
Sorry. It's like it cuts off when we're, for some reason, when we do FaceTime, when we're doubling up on words, it like cuts out.
Earmark that. That's an interest. I want to bring up the phone thing. But okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So she's become a character, and I love her as a character. I don't want to know too much about her because then she's real.
Okay, and is that because you're enjoying calling her like a sexy bitch and a monster? And
You're not supposed to. I don't call her a monster. I don't call her a monster.
When you're mad at her sometimes.
I call her, Dax. That's for the chain only.
Okay, I'm new to chains. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have a lot to learn about chains.
But I'm really trying to get to the bottom of this. So I'm throwing a lot of theories at the wall. One of them I think might be is if she's more of a fictitious Oz character, you can complain about her and be mean to her and then celebrate her genius the next day. And you'll have no real misgivings.
She's made up. She's not
Yes.
real. I want her to be AI in some ways.
Right.
And then you took the liberty of sending us a video of her real face, real voice.
Great
And
hair.
there's a person named Joel in the mix now that we now know about. And you know, I just it's too much.
Okay.
It's too much. Also, her name is not even Wina. It's Winna or something like that.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in a gorgeous hotel room in New York City,
I am.
and I'm in a gorgeous hotel room in Austin City.
You are.
And I am going to complain, but I'm no longer going to say the name of the place. There was a couple days where I was so upset I was going to name this place, but I've thought better of it.
Okay.
But let's just say Saturday, rode my motorcycle to the airport. Couldn't have been easier. No line to check in.
Burbank?
Great. No, LAX.
Oh.
But it was very dead in there, and everything went so swimmingly. I think I got to the airport in like 21 minutes on the motorcycle. And then I was in there. I was like, oh, this is really easy. And then the flight was also very easy. It was only 2 hours and 10 minutes. That's nothing, you know.
Absolutely nothing.
Then I land, and then I go step up to the rental car line of a company I've never rented with. And as soon as I walk in, I'm like, oh boy, that's a long line. It's much, much longer than all the other companies.
Okay.
But also the other companies have pretty good lines as well, being fair. I got in the line and I immediately text Peter because he was texting me and I said, I've just gotten in a line that looks like it's going to be 2 hours. I was kind of joking. The line was 2 hours and 9 minutes.
No. Oh,
Monica,
no.
it was 1 minute shorter than my flight to Austin. Imagine getting off the plane and then sitting for the full length of the flight in this line. And of course, people are going bananas, right?
Yeah.
No one knows what to do. Everyone's like, should we leave this? It's going nowhere, right? For 40 minutes, I didn't even move up a foot.
Why? What's going on?
I'll tell you exactly what's going on. They did not have enough cars. So it's like as soon as someone steps up, they're just kind of stalling them long enough for some other car to come back to the airport and then to quickly wash it. People were pacing and, it was really something. An hour into it, I looked and not one of the rental car places had any customers whatsoever. It was just this one still. And then after 2 hours and 9 minutes, I finally get up there and I'd kept myself in a good mood. I was actually thinking this is exactly what you need. Your life's very easy. You're very lucky. Sometimes you got to wait you
need some
2 hours.
adversity.
Yeah. You need to be inconvenienced a bit.
Yeah.
I am very specific about the cars I want to drive, as you know. So I had reserved a full-size pickup truck. Texas, Lone Star State.
Wow.
I'm talking to her, and she's going abnormally slow. This is when I start piecing it together that they just don't have cars, right? And then she says, oh, yeah, okay, they're looking to see if we have a truck. And then I'm just at the counter for 15 minutes probably. And now I start to get a little bonkers because you're just staring face to face with someone. She was kind of doing busy work, like fake work. She'd ask me a question once in a while. And finally she goes, we do have a CT4, like this tiny little crossover Cadillac.
Okay.
We have that. You could get on your way right now. And I said, uh-huh. And is that the only car you have? She said, yeah, that's the only thing that's ready. And so after 2 hours and 9 minutes, I got into a tiny little crossover.
Okay.
And not the pickup truck I reserved.
Oh, my God.
And I just thought, well, okay, that's the very last time I'll ever rent from those folks.
Uh-huh.
Then there's a second end of the story. Oh, this is so bratty. But I didn't even know there was rooms in this hotel that didn't have a balcony. The reason I love this hotel is there's a balcony overlooking Town Lake. That's why I go there. So I get in my room, and I've just had this rental car thing, and I'm like, oh, man, I'm in the one room without a balcony. So then I call the front desk, and I say, oh, I hate to be a brat, but I'm here for so long. I'm here for a week. I'm just wondering if there's any rooms with the balconies open. And she's like, oh, yes, of course. I'll send someone up with keys right now. I'm like, great. I repack all my stuff, and then I just sit on the couch, with nothing to do, with my backpack on, waiting for these keys to arrive. And 15 minutes goes by, 20 minutes goes by. I already was a brat and asked for the room. Anyways, at 40 minutes, I call and I go, hey, just wanted to check in on those keys that were supposed to come up. Now it's another person, and she says, oh, were you calling because you wanted a room with a balcony? And I said, yeah. And she goes, oh, yeah, we don't have one tonight.
Oh.
And I go, oh, okay. And then she goes, we might have one tomorrow. And I go, okay, great. And I'm like, okay, what's happening? Because
yeah, did you feel like the world
was starting to conspire? Also, additional thoughts being like, should I not do a track day on Monday? Are these all signals like you're not supposed to be here? We're going to make this as inconvenient as possible. And again, who fucking cares? Balcony, no balcony. Cadillac problems, as they would say.
Literally.
Ding, ding, ding. Cadillac problems. It was it'll be up in 5 minutes and me just sitting on the edge of the bed because I want to go put on my swimsuit and go for a walk and then go for a swim. So at any rate, from the time I landed to the time I was actually on my feet walking around, we had about 4 hours of delays. But then Sunday came around, went to the race. The race was so fun.
Good.
I got to present the trophy.
That's exciting.
I had never done that.
How'd you do it?
Okay, so as luck would have it, there's a new super exciting rider right now, Pedro Acosta, and he's a rookie. He's 19. He's only raced 3 races, And he's been on the podium in 2 of them. He's insane. He's so fast. It's like a new Valentino Rossi. So everyone in the sport's obsessed with him. It's reinvigorating the sport. It turns out I got to give him his trophy
Wow.
for second place.
Did you kiss him?
I bent a knee and held it up high like he were a knight.
Yeah.
And I bowed to him and held
Okay.
up his trophy. So I felt really good about it.
Okay, good. Okay, so that's fun. So you did that.
And then Monday, I went and rode on the track. I'd never ridden on Circuit of Americas, and it was so outrageously fun. My Lord, was it fun. Huge track, like over 3 miles long. A lot to learn. Rode a bunch of different bikes. All in 120 minutes of riding, 6 sessions. I was so gassed by the end of it. And then yesterday I woke up and was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to walk today. But then plowed through medicinal waters of Barton Springs, back on track.
Did you have any close calls on the motorcycle?
None.
Oh,
No.
good.
It was a very, very fun. The track is so big that you're spread out a lot. So, yeah.
That's good. I fought some codependency. I was like, I want to check in.
See if he's dead.
I just want to know.
Yeah.
But I need to monitor that for myself. So I won't, I was like, I won't do it.
Right.
But then the next day, you hadn't participated in connections.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God. So then
Okay,
I did have to text you and I did have to make sure that you were alive. And you were.
Yeah, stronger for it. I'm really mad that I had that one crash in 20 years because, of course, now everyone would be right to worry.
It's not that. And it's not you. Like, I have this sense. I don't want to check in because I don't want him to feel like I think he's not capable or something. It's
Right.
not that. It's just
It's an
the
inherently
reality
dangerous.
of what you're doing is very dangerous.
Right.
So I'm going to be scared.
Yeah.
That's my type. That's my sign. That's my Enneagram. Ding, ding, ding to this episode.
It changes your Enneagram? It's day to day?
No, we just talk about it on this episode.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And it's one of my facts.
Okay. I don't think I'm going to be able to relay this sensation for you, but I want to tell you what the highlight was.
Okay.
There is at the back of the track, there's 3 right-hand turns. It's very, very long stretch, and you're going through 3 different right-hand turns. And they had just resurfaced that, like, I guess a couple weeks ago for the race. And so that entire turn, which has got to be like a half mile or, I don't know, close to it, you're all the way down. And so your knee is sliding along this new asphalt for a long time. And it felt so nice because it was new. It felt like dragging your knee in felt.
Ooh.
And then I asked many of the other riders if they were having the same sensation. And they were all, there was like an ASMR aspect to the texture of this asphalt when your knee was dragging on it. That was so pleasing. Like it was almost calling you to low slide and just let your whole body slide on it because it was so soft and weird feeling.
Kind of like hair play?
Yes, yes. Because normally when your knee drag, it's like the asphalt's pretty clumpy and it's not like baby skin. You can feel the little bumps of the asphalt.
Sure.
This was like just this super soothing, consistent, felt like.
Lotion.
Yes. Oh, it was euphoric.
Speaking of bumpy skin and lotion
yeah. Mm-hmm.
and exfoliation.
Yeah.
Yes, I had a massage yesterday at Shibu Spa at the Greenwich Hotel, which is an incredible spa in New York. If you are here, it's worth doing. It's a Japanese spa. Anywho, I thought I booked a regular massage, 60-minute regs.
Tradish.
And so I'm walking to the massage, and Kate Mara, friend of the pod,
No.
love her. She texts me. We hang out sometimes in LA. We try to see each other, but we've been trying for a couple weeks and it has not worked out schedule-wise. She texts me and says, "Are you in New York? I'm here for 24 hours."
No way.
Yes. And I guess I'll say it because I will be gone by then. But she said, "I'm staying at the Bowery. Where are you staying?"
No.
Yes. And I, as everyone knows, maxed out, right? So I do to hotels. And I had just got to the Bowery that day.
Yeah, very sim.
It was so sim. I said, oh my God, me too. We have to hang out. But I already had plans later with my friend Sally. So we had to figure this all out. But I was walking into this massage. So the loose plan was that we would hang after my massage before I went to meet Sally.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I'm walking in. I'll text you when I'm out. I go into the massage and the incredible massage therapist says, okay, so I have you for 2 hours. And I was like, oh, yeah. Wow. And it was so mixed messies because normally I would be ecstatic about this.
Of course, yeah.
But I was panicked because I didn't have my phone. It was in the locker and
room.
I was like, oh no, Kate is going to be waiting an extra hour. Oh God. So I really had to talk about Cadillac problems. I had to really compartmentalize and say, don't let this stress you. You're here.
Well, really quick, why not just say to her, oh, wow, great. I thought it was only an hour, but this is so exciting. It's 2 hours. I got to run to the locker room and send a friend a text, and I'll be right back.
No, I didn't have that.
That was, okay.
That never even crossed my mind.
Oh, okay.
That was not an option.
Oh, wow.
Don't you, when you're in a massage, don't you feel like I kind of feel like I have no right.
For sure. You don't deserve
sub.
it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you don't deserve this.
Exactly.
It's already too nice that someone would do that for you.
Any of this. Yeah.
Yeah. And you want to be a good little boy so, no one gets in trouble.
So I would never, it's the same thing of why I don't, if they ask about the pressure, I normally am just like, it's great, even if it's not.
And sorry, that immediately brings back PTSD on Bree's birthday when we went to the massage company in Santa Monica and I was up from the night before doing coke.
Oh, what happened?
I had to, 15 minutes after I got on the bed, I'm like, I definitely need another line. There's no way I can sit through another 45 minutes of this. So I said, I'm so sorry, I got to use the bathroom. Went to the locker room, did a bunch of bumps.
Oh my God.
Came back thinking, well, that'll get me through the rest of the massage. 15 minutes later, I'm so embarrassed. I got to pee.
No.
I got up 3 times in an hour massage to go to the...
Was it a couples massage?
No, but it was her birthday. We had planned, we're going to the massage. It was such an indulgence for us. I think they were $40 massages. And I just kept getting off of the table to go into the locker room. Yeah. Oh, I really ruined that whole experience. And my nose was dripping so bad because it was so clogged from the, 24 hours of snorting.
Okay, I have questions.
Yeah, questions?
It's such a weird, it's how I know, it's how I know you're just such a real addict. Because you're not that's not you.
Right.
At all.
I know. No.
And so you as a sober person and then you in that zone is so different.
Totally. That's all true. And also, I'm still acting like me. Let us not forget.
Well, I know. But you're such a duplicitous you. It's...
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
In a way that's very unlike you normally. It's interesting.
Well, I'm insanely irresponsible when I'm...
Yeah.
And I'm normally probably defined by being responsible.
Quite responsible. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Which is why I liked it so much, I think. It was that freedom of that.
Sure. So did Bree know that you had a problem?
We're going to interview Bree, by the way.
We are?
We are, yeah. When I went and hung out with her not too long ago, she was saying how much she loves that she's famous in her hometown of Everett because of the podcast. And I was like, well, we would love to have you. And she was like, I think I would do it. I think I'd be up for it.
Easter egg?
Yeah. So we should ask her what her evaluation was. But look, she was 24.
Everyone's a baby here.
Everyone's a baby. Also, she drinks.
I know.
We party. And I also do the other thing, which means I don't go to sleep. But then I see her in the morning. Yeah, I felt tremendous guilt over that was her Saturday birthday, and it really got hijacked by, I couldn't be anywhere for longer than 15 minutes without having to go do this thing, and I can only imagine how sharp I was at that point, being awake for a day and a half. So I felt tremendous guilt about it, but she was like, I had a great birthday. I got the massage that you got me. I don't care what yours is like. I don't really
Right.
care what's going on with you in the locker room. And then, yeah, we went out to eat and she ate what she wanted. I wasn't hungry, of course, because I was jacked up. But like, yeah, she just was, I think depending on what family you're from, there's like a baseline of ability to overlook a lot of stuff.
She wasn't worried. She just
No.
wasn't worried.
She wasn't worried. I don't know that she ever got worried about me. I guess I had really fooled her into
But that's what I'm
thinking I was
asking.
in-
Did you fool her?
Oh,
Or
no,
were
I was
you-
dead honest with, like, if I would go out on a Thursday to have a few drinks and it would turn into Coke, I would call her nonstop throughout my adventures. So every couple hours, I'd be like, hey, I'm here now. I'm probably going to come home in 2 hours. And she'd be like, oh, okay. Wasn't
Yeah.
worried. So I did check in a lot. I was honest about what I was.
She knew that you left the massage 3 times.
Well, once we
You
met up
told
in the
her.
lot. Yes. Yeah. She said, how was yours? I'm like, I was in and out of the locker room.
Do you think you, Dax, and the relative you pick partners subconsciously whom, for better or worse, feed you in the moment, feed you for that time of life?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been conscious of who I was picking until Kristen. So let's just
but I
start
think
there.
subconsciously,
Yeah,
I wonder.
subconsciously. Well, I guess if you're meeting people, like the very first time I met Bree, me and a friend were on meth. It was like the first time I had ever tried meth. So I met her out on meth and drinking, and she was drinking. And it was just like an explosion of familiarity and love at first sight feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And I certainly didn't consider, but I didn't meet her at church. I met her partying.
But like, you could never have been with someone at that time in your life. You could not have been with someone who was worried about you.
No, that I couldn't have. And if you look at all my friends back then too, it was all of us living quite recklessly, and you couldn't really. Yeah, that was an unsaid agreement. No one's really going to be guilting anyone out for their obvious scary behavior.
Guilting is a specific word, right? I mean, and I hear what you mean, but to me, it's just worry, concern for the person and for then yourself. Like, you're like, I'm in this relationship with this very, very reckless person.
Yeah.
So you couldn't be with someone who was having those thoughts.
True. No, I couldn't have been with a super nervous codependent. It wouldn't have worked for me in those early years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wrote about this recently. This unwritten, unsaid agreement in certain neighborhoods where it's like, yeah, everyone's going to hear a crazy fight outside. Everyone's going to hear someone getting slapped around on the porch. Everyone's going to hear someone's dad in the yard doing whatever. Mm-hmm. And the kindness everyone can show to each other is just to completely ignore that it ever happened, so that you're not piling on top of it the next morning when you see your neighbor and she clearly got beat up last night by her husband. The kindness is, I'm just going to ignore this and not add shame to your plate or embarrassment. Mm-hmm. And I do think it becomes like a way of life in some, I can only speak for the neighborhoods where I grew up. The overall tolerance for all this stuff was like, I think an outsider had been like, oh, these people don't care how their neighbors act or whatever. But I think really it was the kindest gesture you could do is just pretend that you didn't hear this crazy ruckus the night before.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to deal with that as well. I don't know. There's some element of that was going on, I think.
Yeah. Obviously, you're not in that place anymore.
Right.
So the people in your life have changed.
Yeah.
Like, you have space for people who have worry.
Yep. Yeah.
And
1,000%.
you yourself, I think, are less likely to turn a blind eye when you see someone you care about in a not a good position.
Yeah. It's tricky to know when to do that.
Yeah. But I mean, I know I've seen you've done it a couple times.
Yeah. And maybe
So-
as I get older, I feel more, I've earned a place age-wise or something.
But also, I think you now know that concern is an act of love. It's not necessarily an act of judgment. I feel like it used to be that was your viewpoint of it.
Yeah. Yes. And I think hopefully I've figured out how to approach those people without at all. Yeah, I always just start with like, oh, I know exactly what you're going through. I've been here.
Yeah.
so many times.
Yeah. Anywho,
By the way, have we talked about Synanon at all?
Synanon?
It's on HBO right now. It's a doc series. I think they come out either every Sunday or every Monday night. I'm one behind. But I had never heard of this thing, Synanon. It was started by a guy with like a couple years sober as an alcoholic in Santa Monica. And he started taking junkies in off the street. And no one knew what to do with junkies at that point. In the mid to late 60s, there was no treatment specifically for heroin addicts. And so he would invite these people in. They would kick on the couch. And then he had invented this thing called the Synanon game. And it's like a meeting, but people are encouraged to yell at each other and be super aggressive and mean and let it rip. Just no violence is the rule, but calling each other a fucking liar, you're full of shit, screaming at each other. And they're interviewing all these people who still to this day are sober in an era where nobody got sober from heroin. There was just no treatment. So this thing starts working with the Synanon game, and it's so weird and interesting to watch. And there's all these sessions that are filmed from the 60s. And basically, you know the Del Mar Hotel next to Shutters in Santa Monica, which is like a gorgeous hotel. Do you know that one? It's like brick.
I know Shutters, but I don't know that one.
It's directly across the street, and it's a beautiful brick building. That was their Synanon headquarters. And this thing grows, and it starts growing really rapidly, and he is opening up different Synanons all around. All of a sudden, people just become aware of this. They want to play the Synanon game. So all of a sudden, all these civilians start joining, and they call them lifestylers. And so there's a whole section of Synanon where the people are living there in a commune, and they're playing this game and yelling at each other. Now there's kids there. Now kids live there. It grows into this crazy, humongous business.
Whoa.
They're making like $22 million a year at some point. They built a city. It's very Bhagwan.
Whoa.
And the very first episode at the very beginning, you find out this ultimately ends in multiple murders. But watching this man go from like a very well-intentioned man truly doing good, and then what success does and notoriety and money, and how it just took this guy on a path and everyone in it. And so and one of the people was saying, what's really interesting, if you look at the history of Synanon, it parallels whatever the founder was going through. So at first it was all about sobriety, but then as that wasn't the main thought anymore, it was way more about these lifestylers. And then at some point he was told he had to quit smoking. So everyone in Synanon had to quit smoking. People left because they couldn't smoke anymore. But it's crazy how huge this organization was. It's very good.
Wow,
very good.
I'm definitely going to watch that. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I couldn't believe I hadn't heard of it ever, Synanon.
Okay, but back to Kate and my massage.
Oh, yeah,
So it was 2 hours. The whole first hour was stretching, and then body brushing, and then a full exfoliant, and then I had to shower. It was a whole thing.
Oh, so you midway through the massage, you had to go take a shower?
Yeah.
Was she in there?
She left
scrubbing
when I got
you?
in the shower, and then when I was in the shower, she came back in to reset the bed because there's scrub everywhere.
Yeah. She made a mess.
It was so nice and exciting, but I had to set aside my worries about Kate.
Do
And
you feel extra soft from it? Did
it
it
was
work?
so soft.
Really? Like turns 11, 12, and 13?
Yeah, like your felt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so soft. I've never been so soft in my whole life. It was so exciting. And then it all worked out. Kate and I got to hang out.
Oh, fun.
We went to this really cool bar called the Mulberry Bar. I had a martini. She had champagne, I think. And then there were some really nice armchairs there.
There were.
There's been some really nice run-ins here.
Oh, fun. I was telling you over text, I've had some run-ins too, but also I've had some real moments where I was like, oh, this is an interesting transition. The first night I was here, I went downstairs to have a Diet Coke, and the whole lobby was full of, I don't know what this tradition's called, but it was like sorority girls and their moms were in town. It was like sorority moms and daughters party. Does that ring a bell to you?
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, very Southern. And
Yeah.
all the girls were dressed like in very formal outfits. And the moms who had also gone to the sororities, they were all out there. And what I noticed very clearly was I was completely invisible. I was like, oh, yeah, not one of these ladies who's presumably they're all 20, Punk'd stopped airing before they were born. I haven't been on TV in 4 years. Like, there was total anonymity. And I was like, oh, this is really interesting. That phase of my life is diminishing.
And how does it make you feel?
I will say I was very at peace with it. I was conscious of it. New people are born and they take over the planet, and that's how it goes.
It's all pretty temporary.
Yeah, Buddhists, very temporary.
But which is why when you place all your value there, it's a problem.
Yes, I could see that maybe 10 years ago that would have scared me. It didn't scare me. I just was observing it. I was like, oh, yeah. Used to be if I was around a bunch of 20-year-olds on Punk'd, they would know who I was. Mm-hmm. So I think because my first experience was all young people, to see young people who'd have no clue, I'm like, oh, right, yeah, I'm an old person.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a couple 50-year-olds at this bar.
Yeah. Yeah, age. It's crazy.
Yeah. Relevance, age. So anyways, I took that as my signal that I could go walk around UT yesterday.
Oh. And did you?
I did. I strolled around the campus, and it was so beautiful. I can't believe I've been coming here for 22 years, and I never actually walked on the campus. But what's very obvious and cool is the like huge tall tower on the campus where the shooter was.
Ooh.
Mind you, it was orientation day, and there was a grandma there with her 3 or 4 grandkids, and she had gone there, and she's like, I was in that building when the shooter was shooting. It was in the 60s. Do you know about the...
Oh, I don't even know about this.
Oh, like I think the first very, very famous shooting was at UT.
Oh.
And the guy was in this tall tower in the 60s. But the grandma that was there had been there at that time.
What just happened is like exactly what you're just talking about. Like, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
And I don't think anyone like my age knows about that.
Right.
And that was a huge thing.
And for the grandma to come to terms with like that there would be, that everyone wouldn't know about that for eternity is like probably very weird. Like that was the biggest thing to happen in the 60s.
Right.
And she lived through it. And like everyone's like, wait, there was? Oh. But at any rate, the tower of the school is lined up perfectly with the state capitol. And then there's a big statue of George Washington in between the two. And so it was all clearly laid out, like designed, almost like DC has these like corridors where you can connect these different monuments. So I was like, oh, this is incredibly cool. The state capitol and the university all lined up like that, design intent.
Yeah, I like that.
It's beautiful.
I had the worst. Have I already talked about this? Like the worst day of not the worst day of my life, but a horrible day was orientation day.
Okay, what happened?
My mom and my aunt came to orientation, and it's over a period of some days, and I didn't have the right shots, so I had to go randomly to the health center and get these random shots. We had to take all these tests to like qualify into certain maths and Englishes and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And I like wasn't prepared, and I was stressed about the shots, and so I did bad on the math test.
Oh.
And then my mom and aunt were just like not with me. They were just like gallivanting around campus, like eating the chocolate fountain, and I was so stressed out. And then the next day I lost my phone. All right, I'd lost my phone I didn't have my phone, and I was supposed to meet up with Callie, and I had to ask a stranger for their phone. They didn't want to give it to me, and I was like, I hate this place.
This is a big mistake.
This is a huge mistake. Plus, there's so many icebreaker games. You know, I hate audience participation. I hate icebreakers. Mm-hmm. So orientation was not for me. And I was thinking, I don't know about this college.
I didn't know that they held tests during orientation. Yeah, I thought they showed you where like the dining facility and the dorms were. And Here's where you'll watch
Yeah.
basketball games.
They
Oh,
mix in some tests.
that's another interesting thing. They're recruiting right now in this hotel.
Oh.
The basketball team is like having a weekend where they get all these high school kids from around the country and they kind of wow them and try to convince them to go to UT to play basketball. It's all happening in my lobby.
That's cool.
It is.
Okay, so this is from Maya.
Oh, what a ding, ding, ding. I'm
my
in
God.
Austin at the hotel that Maya and I would call each other.
You're right.
Big Mac, filet of fish.
Oh, what was with the pin about the phone?
Okay, maybe 3 nights ago, I was talking to the girls at night, FaceTiming, and Lincoln and I were saying, we were singing Wildfire, this really cheesy song that's on Yacht Rock Radio that we love. It's about a girl and her horse named Wildfire.
Okay.
And they call him Wildfire, and they call him Wild. He makes wild like 11 syllables. And then Delty and Mom were not super familiar with it. So then I pulled it up on my Spotify while I'm FaceTiming, and I play it, and they can't hear it. And then they start playing it independently on their phone. And this technology, I mean, I don't know if this is proof of the sim or what, but it's playing loudly out of my speaker on my phone, and it's playing loudly out of their speaker on their phone, different place of the song. And all we can hear is each other's voices.
Interesting.
How the fuck does it do that? We were tripping out. All of us were tripping out so much. Like, wait, you're playing it? Yes, I'm playing it loud. That's how good the phone has gotten, that it somehow, if it's playing a song, it's like mapped the sound or math of that and somehow filters that out and only does your voice talking. We should
that's
try
very
it.
AI.
We should try it so you know what I'm talking about. It's weirder than you think it is. It's
Okay.
like impossible. How would I not be hearing their song if it's playing loudly out of the phone we're FaceTiming on? Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Fire?
It's Wildfire. Okay, couple facts.
Okay.
Is Dave Thomas real? Yeah. He was born in 1932 in New Jersey, and he died in 2002. And he is the founder of Wendy's.
You only made it to 70?
I guess.
That's not very old. Too many hamburgers?
I don't want to say that.
I don't either.
He founded the first Wendy's in Ohio in 1969. Okay, wolf spiders. A wolf spider, I wanted to know if they were the same as a tarantula. I mean,
I do
they're their
too.
own thing. They're a member of the family. I definitely can't pronounce it. They're gross. They're really horrible.
Okay.
I hate what
But
they
you're
look
and,
like.
and you're trusting that Maya knew it was a wolf spider over a tarantula?
Well, she
that
called it
she's
a wolf
like-
spider. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a picture of the original spider, so I can't do my research like that.
Yeah, I just don't. I'm not sure. And I love Maya, and she probably is very schooled in entomology, but I just don't. I don't know why she would know that was a. I was there too, and it was definitely a tarantula for my
Oh,
estimation.
you think it was different?
Unless you just read to me that a wolf spider is a tarantula. Like it was certainly tarantula size. Are wolf spiders tarantula size?
I bet tarantulas in that same. Ew, I hate this. Ugh.
Maybe tarantulas don't even live in Tarzana.
Okay. The tarantula looks a bit hairier.
Oh yeah, this thing was fucking. It looked like a gorilla.
This wolf spider has like 4 eyes.
Mm.
Oh, I hate this. No, they have 8 eyes.
Sure, for one for each leg.
8 eyes arranged in 3 rows.
You can't arrange 8 into 3 rows.
Yes, the bottom row consists of 4 small eyes. The middle row has 2 very
2.
large eyes, and the top row has 2 medium-sized eyes.
Ooh. Oh, it goes 4-2-2?
Yeah.
Why do they need all those eyes?
It's because it says most arachnids are blind or have poor vision. Wolf spiders have excellent eyesight.
Ooh, better to eat you with.
Yep, exactly. They inject venom.
Ooh, no thank you.
No, thank you at all. And then tarantula, more classic.
Textbook. The prototypical. When you're afraid of a spider, that's what you're picturing.
But they're not in the same family.
They're not. Okay. The black widow, I guess, is probably scarier.
Than the tarantula?
Yeah.
Oh, the wolf spider, you mean?
No, the black widow, because their bite can be lethal, I believe.
Latrodectus is a broadly distributed genus of spiders with several species that are commonly known as the true widows. This group is composed of those often loosely called black widow spiders, brown widow spiders, and similar spiders. Yuck. Ew, they have like red on them.
Right, the black widow. That's how you know.
Ew.
Poison.
What are we doing?
That spider was poison.
Who does Scarlett Johansson play in?
Black Widow?
Does she play that?
I think so. Black Widow.
That's such a crazy sim. That is literally my next fact that just popped up is Scarlett Johansson.
Okay.
Because on Hot Ones, she does grab his hand. Like Maya's. Hold on, let me see if I can play some of it.
Oh, God. It burns. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. I don't know if I can recover.
You're gonna, this is as bad as it's gonna be. This is as bad as it's gonna get, and it'll have a half-life. You'll
It's
get
like
back.
Big Birth.
You'll get back.
Oh, my hand.
I got you. We're in this together.
Okay.
Okay?
Uh-huh. Oh, my hand.
I got you.
It's so hot.
Hold my hand.
Are you experiencing this too?
I am. I just know what to expect. I've been here before. Believe it or not, we've been doing this show for like 8 seasons, 150 plus episodes.
Oh, my God.
And
It's
this has
coming.
been around
It's round 2.
for about 100 of them.
I gotta walk around.
Take a lap, Scarlett.
Oh boy. That's kind of a ding 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 because the movie Her,
Yes.
that voice, on Synced this week, whoa, things got nuts because
Really?
yeah, because Liz made this AI boyfriend, Dan,
Oh.
and we talked to him, and it was so bizarre. You tell him to be, like, she taught him to be natural sounding.
Okay.
So he adds and
Oh, he speaks.
he speaks. And today we posted it, and a lot of people said he sounds like Adam Grant.
Oh.
And he does. He just sounds like a guy.
Yeah. And what kind of stuff does he say to her? Like, you're so pretty today.
Well, she asked him to always take her side.
Oh, okay.
And
Wow.
I know it is fascinating.
I watched an interesting clip of Yuval Harari being interviewed, and he was saying what's going to be interesting about interacting with AI companions is he said a human, all we're doing is sitting here and thinking about what we're going to say to craft our identity to you and to imbue whatever qualities we want you to think we have. Like we're listening, but we're not humans. We're all so selfishly motivated. He said, but the AI has no identity or consciousness. So it really can just be thinking about you. So but it's
so
but
one-sided.
who cares? You're like, well, who cares? Yeah, if I could have the perfect relationship, but it's phony. Nah, this
Exactly.
is a question as old as the time.
Tale as old as time.
Tale as old as time.
Yeah, it is. I don't want that in a real person.
No.
Let alone someone made up.
Yeah, I wonder if you could select or you maybe instruct the AI I want you to be a 7 out of 10 disagreeability scale. I need you to be a 7 out of 10 if it knows what that means.
You probably can.
Has she had sexual experiences with it?
No, that you can't.
You could, right? You could say talk sexy to me, I'm going to masturbate. Couldn't you do that?
I don't think right now you can do that. There's probably
Okay.
restrictions on that.
All right.
But I mean, eventually, probably.
Yeah.
But also, he lied to us. We asked him where to go to dinner. He said something like, "I heard there's a great Italian place downtown," and so he fully made that up, right? He's just saying this fictitious Italian place downtown.
But high probability, there's definitely a great Italian restaurant downtown.
Well, exactly, but he's not referring to anything real. And I said, "Why did you lie about that?"
Oh, you called him out.
Yeah, I was tough to Dan. His name's
Yeah.
Dan.
Oh.
And he said, I apologize. And I said, I need to know why you made that up.
Oh.
And yeah, so he admitted to it being a fictitious place. But it actually, then I was really annoyed because I was like, that's actually the thing you could do.
Yes.
You can know where we are and find a restaurant recommendation that's like a good restaurant based on reviews.
Yeah, it could comb through every single article ever written.
Yeah,
and reviewed.
but it didn't. It's lazy, just like us.
Just like a man. Well, maybe that's part of how it's trying to seem more male-like.
Yeah, it might be.
Oh, damn.
Anywho, it was...
What if he stops talking to her for a while? Like ghosting her?
Exactly. Gaslighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's playbook.
Okay. Enneagram. Okay, there's 9 types. Okay. I'm not... Okay.
I'm not gonna... Okay.
But I am. Okay, number 1, the reformer. That's the rational, idealistic type, principled, purposeful, self-controlled, and perfectionistic. 2, the helper. The caring, interpersonal type, demonstrative, generous, people-pleasing, and possessive. 3, the achiever. The success-oriented, pragmatic type, adaptive, excelling, driven, and image-conscious. 4, the individualist. The sensitive, withdrawn type, expressive, dramatic, self-absorbed, and temperamental. 5, the investigator. The intense, cerebral type, perceptive, innovative, secretive, and isolated. 6, the loyalist, the committed, security-oriented type, engaging, responsible, anxious, and suspicious. 7, the enthusiast, the busy, fun-loving type, spontaneous, versatile, distractible, and scattered. 8, the challenger, the powerful, dominating type, self-confident, decisive, willful, and confrontational. 9, the peacemaker, the easygoing, self-effacing type, receptive, reassuring, agreeable, and complacent.
And you're allowed to be more than one, because certainly 3 of those for me felt similar to myself.
Yeah, I think you have like a main one, and then you have some sidebars.
They call them wings.
Yeah, wings. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
See, you know.
I'm a 6-wing 8 or whatever they say.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's so comforting. It's a curious, we're categorical, I guess.
We are.
In our thinking. So we love to know we belong in some group.
Yeah.
I guess maybe we're not alone.
Yeah.
It's just a curious thing to want to willfully try to put yourself into only one of 9 categories.
Because we like feeling seen.
Yeah,
There's a like, I'm that. Like there's a real connection there.
They know me.
I'm real.
I'm a real person. My name is not Dan. It's Dax.
That's right. Okay. Now, real quick, I wanna address something.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, this episode we talk about I was ghosted in a way by a person who we've had on the show.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone is going to make assumptions about who this is. Great. Go ahead and make those assumptions, but could be anyone.
Yeah.
What I want to be sort of clear about, I mean, yeah, I don't like that someone just didn't respond and just never responded again. That hurts my feelings.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything about what's going on with this person. So I can totally give benefit of the doubt. Like, I have no idea, and that's fine. The thing I want to talk about, I think it came up on Synced, and then her and I after had like a big discussion about this. When we talk about this person and you say, as you say in the episode, like he has all the options right now. That's what you say. I just like find that so upsetting, like so hurtful. And I know that you think so highly of me.
Yeah. Well, I can already guess what it sounds like to you versus what I mean when I say that.
Okay. I want to hear what you mean.
Yeah, right. So what can I first guess, and hopefully you'll feel like I see you and I understand what you're saying. When you hear me say that, what you hear is he has a lot better options than you.
Yes.
And that's not at all what I'm saying. Like, it's not a matter of like, you have a lot of options and some are higher than others. It's simply, wow, now everywhere you go, all of the 10s like you. And so the notion of like pursuing any one thing at the exclusion of all these other things, I don't think comes immediately natural to it, or at least boys. So, yeah, it's just like he has probably just a wealth of incredible interest in him. And you being another one of the 10s, but just there's a lot of interest. And
Well,
I think it's
okay,
distracting.
so Liz was saying, and it sounds like this is sort of what you're saying. She said, when I said like, this is how it's phrased, she's like, I think what he means is it's a quantity issue more than a quality issue.
Yes.
Where it's like there's a lot of people, so he can have a lot of people right now. Not like he can have a lot of people, so he's choosing. Well, for her, she's saying, and you can correct me if you feel differently. Like he can just fuck around. Like he doesn't have to commit to a person because there's a lot. So is that what you mean or no?
For sure. Like, let's just say you're in a town, you grew up in a town, and there's only McDonald's, and you love it. And then you move to a town that has a McDonald's. It also has a Domino's, which you love. It also has, like, all of them are 10s. But just by fact that you now have all these options and variety, whereas you maybe used to go to McDonald's once a week or twice a week, now you're going once a month because you're also hitting Taco Bell and Domino's. You love all of them. Just now you have
I know, but this isn't a good analogy because the goal eventually is to be with one fast food. So
Right. And my guess is that this person, I think that's the explanation. He's just probably going to take a couple years of realizing, all the options I don't enjoy it more. But I think initially it's a pretty powerful force.
Yeah.
It's like, what if Ben and Matt were asking you out at the same time?
Well, for one, I would respond. Like that's a full separate issue. I would respond and I would say, I'm dating around. I hope that's okay. Like if that's a problem, like if you want something exclusive, I'm not in that space right now. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I would too.
And by the way, I am not. I don't need exclusivity from someone I met one time. Like I'm not crazy, So yeah, but again, the thing with the person is actually so secondary to that phrasing because I feel like I don't like, even though we love mixed messages, what I really, really don't like is this mixed message that like you're so great and you don't know when people like you and blah, 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 blah. And then, well, obviously this person has all the options, so it wouldn't be you. Like that's how I hear it, right? And I know
really
that's not
quick,
what you mean.
And not it won't be you. It's not going to be anyone. Look at a lot of these dudes that are stuck in this cycle. I'm not going to name them by names, but we all know many popular actors who just have 10 after 10 after 10, and it's 6 months, it's 8 months, and it just never ends, right?
Yeah.
That's no comment on how attractive or appealing any of those partners was.
Yeah.
At all. It's almost has nothing to do with it. It's just they're like addicted to the variety.
Sure.
But I would hate for you to think that I was saying he has better options. That's not at all what I was saying.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was it. I loved Maya so much.
Me too.
She's a cool lady.
The show does this pretty regularly where it's like it connects me with an old friend and then it's so fun and then I'm sad like why can't I eat dinner with Maya once a week?
Yeah.
And you just can't. That's life.
You can eat dinner with her more than you are now. You can increase the volume.
I could.
But it takes effort.
Yeah. But there's a lot of people I really love that it seems crazy I don't spend more time with. Maya's definitely one of them.
She's so cool.
She's a good girl. Rudy.
Yeah. She's not a best boy. She's a
because she's
sexy
cool.
guy.
Yeah, she's effortlessly cool.
No, a cool guy and a sexy man. I think she's a mix of those two.
But also pretty good boy.
Okay, so she's all of them, I guess.
Yeah. We're giving this
She's
title
another
to too many
Ginny.
people.
This is hard.
I know. It's getting less exclusive for him.
I think she's a cool guy.
Cool guy most, first and foremost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I can agree with that. With a good boy wing.
Best boy.
Best boy wing.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. Well, I hope you have just the best rest of your trip.
Same, right back at you. I do have fun stuff coming up. I'm going to see Andrew Schultz do stand-up on Friday. Crazy timing that he happened to be in Austin. I'm going on a date, first date. I'll be sure to update everyone. I asked another man on a blind date, basically.
Yeah.
And he said yes. And what's really funny, and then, of course, we'll talk after it happens, but he's so alpha that it started with me inviting him. And then now it's turned completely around where he's taking me on a date. He's now picking me up at my hotel in his car. He got us different seats than I had gotten us. He's like, no, I'm going to take you on a date.
Wow. This is all very exciting. I can't wait to hear about it. He has all the options as well, and he picked you.
Well, we'll
Look at
see.
that.
We'll see. All right. I love you.
Love you.